It all kicks off with a giant golden beam of light tearing through the sky and crashing right into Qingyang City's first academy. Faced with all that wild energy, the crowd gets totally hyped over the awakening anomaly of the academy's top prodigy, Su Zioking. Right in the middle of it all, Su Zioking stays super focused while the process of choosing her destiny goes down. The students around her start gossiping, guessing if she's gonna score a high-tier class or something even more op. Seeing that flex, the principal gets hyped, thinking his luck is finally turning around, and tells everyone to watch the light shapeshift into a weapon. Just like that, an epic golden sword spawns, hovering right over the glowing magic circle. Right after, a mysterious hand grabs the hilt of the sacred weapon. Boom! A majestic angel descends from the sky, dual-wielding the giant sword for everyone to see. Mind blown by the scene, the principal realizes it's a legendary class with maxed-out sacred stats. He totally fanboys and announces out loud that Su Zioking awakened the epic six-winged angel class, complete with the holy light sword. Completely silent, the towering angel floats right behind the girl on the summoning altar. That's when the students lose their minds, cheering and hyping up the school's absolute queen. Watching from a distance, Wei Dao recognizes her talent and admits that bagging an epic class is a massive W. 300 years ago, spatial rifts glitched into the world without warning, kicking off an absolute nightmare with the secret realms. Overpowered mutant beasts started invading Earth through these portals, wrecking civilization left and right. Over time, humans unlocked the power to awaken classes and started grinding their skills by exploring these rifts. Thanks to that, humanity finally learned how to box these mutant beasts on an even playing field. Brave warriors stepped up to face the most dangerous mobs to defend the planet. These days, classes are split into 5 tiers, going all the way from low-tier trash to epic-tier legends. But there are rumors floating around about hidden, unknown classes that break past the epic tier. Having been ice-guyed into this game-like world, Wei Dao sweated the books to place first in theory and secure a good awakening. Meanwhile, the principal congratulates Su Zioking for being the first to snag an epic class in the city this year. Staying humble, the girl thanks the principal and promises to keep grinding hard. Stepping off the stage, she walks straight toward Wei Dao. Deep down, Su Zioking is flexing internally, finally getting the chance to dunk on her rival who always topped the leaderboards. All around them, the girls hype her up, saying she's definitely going to wreck Wei Dao now. Right on cue, the principal calls up the next candidate, Wei Dao, to step onto the altar. Hearing his name, the students start chatting about how being a theory nerd doesn't guarantee a good class, and that hell never tops Su Zioking. Crossing his fingers, the principal thinks that if the kid pulls another epic class, the school will go absolutely viral. Without sweating it, Wei Dao struts confidently toward his destiny. Giving the green light, the examiner signals for the awakening process to begin. Focusing his energy, Wei Dao boots up the panel and starts his own transformation. Instantly, a colossal pillar of light bursts from the ground and shoots into the sky. But the golden energy quickly glitches into a purple whirlpool packed with lightning. Looking up, the students freak out as the sky suddenly goes dark and a freezing chill takes over the whole place. Panicking, they point at the clouds as a massive, creepy skeletal mob spawns in midair. High above, an entire army of floating skeletons starts materializing right in the middle of the purple storm. Mind completely blown, the principal admits he's never seen such a weird glitch and wonders what kind of class is dropping. Even knowing they're just illusions, Su Zioking gets a crazy shiver down her spine. Wrapped in dark energy, Wei Dao actually enjoys the feeling of power surging through his veins. The whirlpool gets even crazier while the guy crosses his fingers for a legendary pull. Then the purple energy starts condensing super fast right in his hands. A flash of dark light cuts through the summoning zone to reveal the grand prize. Plot twist, a black shovel spawns floating and spinning in the air. Grabbing the long-handled tool, Wei Dao is totally confused, realizing his starting loot is literally just a shovel. Super awkward, the principal announces that Wei Dao awakened the hidden undead summoner class, with a shovel as his starter gear. With that weird reveal, the entire crowd of students goes dead silent for a few seconds. Then everyone bursts out laughing, roasting the construction shovel and saying they're gonna turn him into a meme online. Seeing the guy's bad RNG, Su Zioking smiles in relief, knowing she's still the top dog of the school. Alone on stage, Wei Dao wonders if the game lagged out or something to give him just a shovel after all that storm hype. Deciding to dig into it, he opens his UI to check his stats and summoning skill. Right then, the MC discovers he actually has the secret rank SSS talent, Eternal Immortality, which lets him stack infinite summons. Hyped by the discovery, Wei Dao realizes he can ignore the one-mob limit and build a literal army. Still suspicious, he side-eyes the shovel, guessing it probably hides some op secret too. Reading the sealed items lore, he finds out that burying defeated enemies drops crazy good bonus loot. Laughing at the wild situation, the guy realizes he's gonna be farming XP and bonus drops at the exact same time with a shovel. Losing his patience, the principal tells Wei Dao to show off his skill already to see if it's actually viable. Playing along, the guy raises his hand and pops his first undead summoning skill. A small glowing purple magic circle pops up on the ground right in front of him. To everyone's disappointment, just a single fragile white skeleton slowly crawls out of the portal. Totally underwhelmed, the principal notes that the summon is just a basic skeleton mage, the literal lowest tier of undead. Curious about how squishy this hidden class is, he decides to give the summon a little poke to test its durability. Just one tiny push, and the skeleton instantly crumbles to pieces on the floor. Seeing that, the students go right back to roasting the guy since his summon got one-tapped so easily. Totally unfazed by the haters, Wei Dao just drops a confident smirk, knowing his true meta. Super chill, the MC explains to the principal that one single skeleton is definitely trash, but things are about to get crazy. Right after, Wei Dao hits a quick finger snap to trigger his special ability. Instantly, dozens of purple magic circles start spawning all over the academy courtyard. Absolutely shook, the principal backs up as multiple skeletal mobs start popping out of the ground around him. While the mobs keep spawning, the MC flexes that he can summon as many warriors as he wants all at once. With hundreds of warriors backing him up, Wei Dao asks the principal how he'd deal with that kind of firepower. Faced with that, the massive undead army stands perfectly still, waiting for their master's orders. Freaking out over the sea of bones, the students start panicking, wondering how he managed to spam so many summons. Watching seriously, Su Zioking figures out that Wei Dao's class is all about overwhelming numbers. Blown away by the turnout, the principal admits that this insane mob spam must be the hidden class's real cheat code. Despite the weird starting gear, the principal hypes up Wei Dao, saying his future is still looking super bright. Then the man asks him to recall his summons so they can wrap up the ceremony, and the guy agrees. While dismissing the army, Wei Dao thinks about how everyone there thinks he can only summon basic grunts. But he remembers that legendary skeleton dragon he saw in the storm and knows that beast will be his soon enough. 1 hour later, the academy courtyard starts clearing out as the event winds down. Announcing the end of the show, the principal congratulates all the students who successfully unlocked their new classes. Then he drops the info that tomorrow at 9 o'clock, everyone needs to hit the newbie dungeon to grind for scholarships and points. Hearing about the loot, Wei Dao gets pumped at the chance to level up and farm some sweet rewards in the challenge. With the event officially over, the students start scattering across the huge academy campus. Just then, the guy Kaiyan Zhao walks up to Su Zioking and invites her to do it with his swordsman class. Looking completely uninterested, the girl hard rejects the invite and coldly tells him to get out of her way. She completely ignores the simp and jogs straight toward the MC, calling out for Wei Dao. Hearing his name, the MC turns around to see what the girl wants. Su Zioking then drops a fresh challenge to decide who the real MVP of the school is inside the dungeon. Feeling cocky, Wei Dao accepts the bet but warns her that she's probably gonna take the. Triggered by his trash talk, Su Zioking claims her rival is just yapping. Right then, Kaiyan Zhao pulls out his shiny sword, totally mad about the MC's disrespect. He threatens to break Wei Dao's legs to stop him from queuing up for the dungeon tomorrow. But Su Zioking cuts him off, saying she doesn't need to be carried and that she'll beat her rival fair and square. So the swordsman decides to spare the guy just for Su Zioking's sake, but drops a heavy warning for him to watch his back. If not, the MC better get ready to spend a whole month in bed if they cross paths. Not caring about the empty threats at all, Wei Dao just replies that he'll be waiting for the 1v1. The next day, military transports roll up to the drop zone prepped for the students' big exam. Walking into the main lobby, the students are hit with all the crazy hype leading up to the trial. Plus, some kids are nervously chattering about the 3 secret realms available for the challenge, while others bring up that the noobs are soft-locked to the barren prairie, the absolute lowest tier zone. Strutting confidently through the hall, Su Zioking walks right past without caring about the background noise. Spotting his rival, Wei Dao asks if she's going solo or squatting up, and the girl says she's running solo. She then dares him to do the same so he can't make excuses about getting carried later. Suddenly, an epic voice booms through the massive hall, instantly grabbing everyone's attention. Stepping up to the podium with a megaphone, the principal explains the test runs for 8 hours and hitting level 3 grants bonus points. Listening to the rules, the students get ready to go try hard mode in the exam. He adds that taking down elite mobs drops even more bonus points before making it officially go time. Right then, the massive magic portal to the barren prairie lights up with pure energy. The massive crowd of students immediately rushes the portal trying to secure the first spawns. Watching the stampede from the back, Wei Dao finds all that sweaty try-hard energy hilarious. But he decides to jump into the portal right after, just to show a little bit of hype. The second he crosses the portal, the MC steps onto the bright green grass of the prairie. Looking at the massive empty field, Wei Dao realizes everyone got randomly teleported to different spawn points. Suddenly, some sus rustling in the bushes catches the guy's attention. To his surprise, a tiny prairie marmot pops out, literally the lowest level mob in the zone. But the supposedly cute critter lets out a super loud and aggressive screech. Annoyed by the screeching, the guy covers his ears, not getting why the thing is so mad. Right then, the wild animal leaps at an insane speed straight for the MC. With zero time to dodge, Wei Dao takes a direct headshot from the furious little mob. With the critter stuck to his face, the guy tries to peel it off as fast as possible. Feeling that random hit, the MC realizes he can't sleep on any enemies in this lobby. So he grabs the rabid animal with his bare hands to rip it off once and for all. Finally tossing the mob aside, Wei Dao complains about the sheer disrespect of the sneak attack. Then he lands a clean kick that sends the animal flying across the map. The monster goes tumbling through the grass, squealing in pain from the heavy hit. Fixing his fit, the guy admits he almost took a nasty bite just from zoning out. Annoyed, he snaps his fingers and warns the beast it's about to pay for that mistake. The MC pops his special summoning skill, lighting up magic circles on the ground. In seconds, dozens of skeleton mages start rising from the shadows, wrapped in purple smoke. With 30 grunts on standby, Wei Dao lines up his undead crew for a fight. Pointing straight at the marmot, the MC tells his summons to let it rip. Instantly, a literal rain of fireballs gets blasted right at the cornered critter. A massive explosion totally nukes the spot where the little monster tried to escape. Finally, the animal gets completely wiped out, leaving just its game-over body on the scorched grass. A floating pop-up congratulates Wei Dao for clearing a level 1 mob and hands over 10 experience points. Even with the W, the guy complains that getting only 10 XP is going to make the grind take forever. But then he remembers he's got a whole army on standby and tells the boys to get to work. He toggles free attack mode and tells his summons to clear out any mob they find. Meanwhile, in a VIP lounge, fresh tea is being poured for the examiners. A rival principal sarcastically asks Wang if he honestly thinks the first academy is gonna take the W. Super confident, Principal Wang says yes without breaking a sweat. The other guy claps back, bragging that his own school just rolled a student with a high-tier epic class. That's when the third principal jumps in, reminding them that Wang's school actually has an epic class and a hidden class. Shook by the plot twist, the rival principal literally spit-takes his tea. Mind blown by the news, he asks if that's actually real life. Principal Wang happily confirms and says he can't wait to see his students wiping out elite mobs. Back in the prairie, massive explosions are carpet-bombing the field while the marmots try to run for their lives. With zero counterplay, the critters are getting tagged one by the fireballs. The blast just keeps snowballing across the map, wiping the mobs out super fast. Cracking up, Wei Dao chills on the green grass and talks about how awesome combat in this world is. While he's at it, a bunch of XP points just start auto-farming over his head, while he lies there doing literally nothing. The guy celebrates the massive carry from his hidden class and begs for even more points to speedrun his levels. But Wei Dao decides to get up, charging his shovel with purple energy to field test his digging tool. Strolling through the prairie, the MC decides to bury the wiped-out marmot just to see what kind of Easter eggs it drops. He starts casually digging a hole in the dirt with his shovel, counting his steps like it's no big deal. After gently dropping the little guy into the grave, he finally buries it in dirt. Wiping the sweat off his forehead after the manual labor, the guy stares at the little dirt mound he just made. Hoping for some good RNG, Wei Dao steps closer to see if he's getting any bonus loot for playing Undertaker. Instantly, a system window pops up saying he scored a common bracelet, some tomb incense, and zombie oil. Checking the stats, the MC realizes these 3 creepy items actually give solid buffs and extra XP. Weirded out by the funky loot, the guy questions where these spooky items even came from since they definitely aren't normal. Deciding to test the sketchy incense, he lights it up to see what kind of buffs he gets on the prairie. Shocked, Wei Dao watches dozens of bonus XP notifications just spamming all around him. Wrapped in a bright golden level-up glow, the MC hypes up finally hitting level 2. A floating system message pops up confirming the MC officially dinged level 2. Super pumped by the speedrun, Wei Dao celebrates how easy it is to farm levels in this zone. Then he decides to pull out the jar of sketchy zombie oil to see if it actually works. Pouring the dark liquid on his arm, a notification confirms an instant stat buff across the board. Hyped by the sick early gains, the guy decides to slather on even more oil to max his strength. With that, a bunch of notifications start spamming his screen, while he rubs the stuff all over his arms and face. Feeling all that stacked power, the MC is mind-blown by how insanely refreshed his body feels. Opening his stats screen, Wei Dao sees his new numbers are absolutely busted for his current level. With his shovel resting on his back, the guy decides to take a walk to find fresh drops to bury in the grass. Suddenly, an urgent system ping warns the guy that his skeleton mage count is dropping fast. Freaking out over losing his precious summons, the MC spins around trying to figure out what's going on. Out of nowhere, a massive, raging wild boar is charging in, absolutely shredding his undead squad with zero chill. An info window drops, revealing the new threat is a level 3 elite horned. Looking at the absolute unit, Wei Dao realizes why his squishy skeleton mages got completely folded. The elite mob lets out a crazy loud aggressive roar, revving up for a charge. The horned boar kicks off a super fast, violent dash straight at the MC, kicking up a massive dust cloud. Realizing he's drawn aggro from the raging beast, Wei Dao sees the massive tank coming right at him. Sprinting for his life across the green field, the guy yells at the elite mob to stay away. But the wild beast just keeps W-keying forward with a furious roar across the prairie. Picking up the pace, the guy tries to put as much distance as possible between him and the incoming wrecking ball. He quickly throws his hands up, ordering his summons to body block for him. Instantly, the monstrous beast slams right into the makeshift wall of summons. A massive shockwave of dust and shattered bones blasts across the zone from the heavy collision. Panting after the jump scare, the guy is just glad he had enough skeletons to avoid getting sent back to the lobby. Getting back up, Wei Dao pops his purple summoning magic again to regain control of the fight. Scanning the enemy up close, he plans to box it in, knowing the bulky mob has terrible turning speed. Right on cue, the boar roars loudly as it realizes it's completely surrounded by skeleton mages. The MC celebrates, knowing the beast is now hard-locked into attacking in only one direction. Following orders, the skeleton army unleashes a brutal barrage of fireballs right into the beast. Finally, the smoke clears, showing the massive elite boar totally wiped out and collapsed on the prairie floor. A huge pillar of light hits the guy, confirming he just successfully dinged level 3. Right after, a golden chest floats up in front of him, meaning the defeated boar dropped some leather armor. Hyped by the lucky RNG, Wei Dao celebrates the sick gear drop he just got gifted. Equipping the shiny new fit, his strength and constitution stats get a massive buff. Gripping his iron shovel once again, the guy charges up his purple power, getting ready to dig some. He walks up to the elite beast's body, ready to bury it and farm those sweet bonus rewards. As soon as he finishes the burial, 2 glowing yellow orbs slowly float up from the dirt. At first, the MC thinks the loot is kind of mid for an elite mob, and complains about the game's stingy economy. But to his shock, the lights suddenly morph into 2 magic skill books floating in midair. A pop-up breaks down the new spells, revealing spiritual fire magic and a skeleton boar summon. Absolutely glowing over the god-tier find, the guy instantly changes his tune and praises the system for being so generous. Holding the books, Wei Dao happily calculates that the low mana cost will let him spam over 10 boars. The manuals flash with purple light as he speed learns the new magical combat tech. A system prompt confirms the MC successfully unlocked the spiritual fire and boar skills. Channeling his mystic energy, the guy pops a giant magic circle and launches his new secret summon. With a screeching, terrifying roar, a massive skeleton boar spawns, totally engulfed in intense purple flames. The panel highlights the elite creature's busted stats, especially its Op Wild Charge ability. Super satisfied with the new summon, Wei Dao flexes that his farming speed is about to go through the roof. Suddenly, a devastating slash of golden energy rips through the distance, scaring a bunch of birds out of the trees. Curious about that weirdly destructive flex, the MC looks over trying to spot who's causing all that chaos. Over in a clearing, the toxic Qian Zhao is ordering a squad of students to back off while they fight over an elite turtle. Totally salty, one of the guys in the squad complains that they found the mob first and calls out the unfair loot steal. With a smug smirk, the blonde swordsman coldly claims he has the right just because he's way stronger. Watching from the shadows, Wei Dao recognizes his rival and figures out the dude went pay to win to hit that hard. Out of patience for the yapping, Qian Zhao swings his glowing golden weapon and tells everyone to get out of his way. Eating the devastating hit, the students scream in pain as they get launched away with zero counterplay. Spooked by the swordsman's crazy aggro, the giant turtle tries to slowly back up and avoid the attack. But Qian Zhao rushes in, swinging his massive blade to fire a wave of energy right at the beast. Out of nowhere, several of Wei Dao's skeleton summons pop out of the shadows to body block the swordsman's attack. A massive crash goes down as the opposing energies clash head-on, kicking up tons of dust and smoke everywhere. Seeing his play get completely stuffed, Qian Zhao is shook and wonders what the heck is going on. A system notification pops up confirming Wei Dao sniped the elite turtle, pushing him straight to level 4. Absolutely mouthing, Qian Zhao screams at the MC, accusing him of kill-stealing his elite mob. But the MC tries to cool things down, explaining it was literally just an accident with his summon. The swordsman isn't having it and decides this is the perfect time to settle the score. So he launches a heavy sword strike straight at Wei Dao to try and take him out. But the MC reacts super fast, throwing his arm up and popping a magic barrier to tank the hit. Instantly, a whole row of skeleton mages spawns in front of him to soak the damage. But the swordsman's attack is absolutely busted, completely shredding the bone squad in the blink of an eye. Shocked by the raw damage, Wei Dao realizes things are way more dangerous than he thought. He admits to himself that using the summons as meat shields to slow the enemy's attack just saved his life. In the distance, the other students look worried, whispering that the guy is in deep trouble facing someone so op. Right then, the MC drops a dark aura and warns his rival not to blame him for what happens next. He triggers a bunch of purple magic circles, sending his fresh summons straight into the fight. Skeleton boars burst out of the rifts, revving up a brutal charge against the enemy. Ignoring the incoming rush, Qian Zhao charges in with his sword, trash-talking the mobs as total garbage. He lands a clean headshot on the first skeleton boar with his sacred weapon. Shocked by how tanky the monster is, the swordsman backs up, totally confused as to why his strike didn't one-tap it. The skeletal beast drops a terrifying roar, proving the attack barely even scratched it. The boar follows up with a heavy slam that sends the swordsman flying backward, knocking his weapon completely out of his hands. Unable to guard, the guy goes tumbling through the grass, trying to shake off the painful hit. But the nightmare isn't over as 3 more skeleton boars start another aggressive rush right at him. Sprawled on the floor, Qian Zhao lets out a panicked groan, realizing he has nowhere to run from this gank. One of the beasts smashes right into the swordsman's face, instantly cutting off his call for help. Taking that final hit, he blacks out, totally wrecked in the middle of the battlefield after a super humiliating L. Watching the whole thing from afar, the other students are absolutely terrified by the insane power of that summon. The MC casually asks the kids to help carry their knocked-out rival out of the zone before things get worse. Still spooked, the students quickly agree to help, while Wei Dao just throws a super chill thanks. The squad hurries to drag the unconscious swordsman away, leaving the guy all by himself. Looking around, Wei Dao realizes he finally has some privacy and decides it's time to bury the mob. Standing over the massive, wiped-out elite turtle, the MC daydreams about the insane loot he's about to pull. Suddenly, a giant shadow covers the sky, catching the curious guy's attention. A massive, slimy blue monster drops right onto the field, making the MC jump back in a hurry. A system window pops up showing this thing is a level 5 splitter slime, a literal boss-type mob. Hyped by the random encounter, Wei Dao gets excited, realizing how lucky he is to find a rare spawn. The boss instantly pops its special skill, raining down a barrage of corrosive bubbles right at him. Noticing the toxic danger, the guy gets ready to clap back using his own magic toolkit. He casts and fires his spiritual fire magic, trying to cancel out the acid bubbles midair. But some bubbles hit the grass, literally melting the ground and giving off toxic green smoke. Sweating a bit, the guy sees the damage to the earth and knows he definitely can't afford to touch that acid. But the blue blob keeps the pressure on, charging up for another lethal strike against the MC. Without blinking, Wei Dao summons his skeleton mage army and commands them to focus fire immediately. The bony squad raises their hands, blasting dozens of fiery orbs straight at the enemy. A crazy firefight of flames and acid bubbles takes over the zone in a massive explosion show. But the slime's acid splashes one of the skeleton mages, completely melting it away in seconds. Realizing his mages are way too squishy, the MC decides to switch up his combat strat. He figures his best bet to tank the heavy damage is to unleash his beefy skeleton boars. The heavy beasts violently crash into the giant slime, making the creature let out a super weird noise. Taking those brutal hits, the blue monster gets totally crushed and bursts into a massive slimy explosion. Flexing the quick W, the guy celebrates his coordinated beast attack strategy working perfectly. But the hype dies down fast when he hears some sketchy noises coming from the scattered slime pieces on the floor. To his surprise, the gooey mess starts wiggling and spreading all over the combat zone. The boss literally splits into dozens of mini slimes that are already gearing up to shoot more bubbles. The guy remembers his theory classes. This type of mob always clones itself after taking heavy damage. But he just drops a confident smirk, knowing this splitting gimmick is useless against his playstyle. The MC claims absolutely nobody can outspam him when it comes to raw numbers. The horde of little blue monsters fires off a literal wall of corrosive bubbles his way. He quickly commands his skeleton boars to form a shield wall right on the front line. The living meat shields tank the entire acid attack, keeping the rest of the squad perfectly safe. Meanwhile, the mages in the backline get ready to drop a massive counterattack on the targets. Instantly, a heavy rain of fireballs gets launched, carpet-bombing the entire battlefield. With zero chance to dodge, the mini-slimes get completely wiped out by the chain explosions. A giant pillar of light drops down, confirming Wei Dao cleared the boss and skipped straight to level 7. Hyped by the result, the guy sweeps up all the gear the boss dropped, planning to sell it later. Right in front of him, a bunch of common weapons and accessories are floating and glowing as his combat reward. The guy stuffs everything into a heavy-duty canvas bag, already thinking about the profit. Deciding to max out his remaining time, he gets ready to keep farming the secret realm. But a system message pops up saying the exam timer is out, initiating an auto-return sequence. Surprised by how fast time flew, the guy complains that he didn't get to grind for a few more hours. He gets teleported back, instantly popping up in the giant magic circle back at the academy lobby. All around him, the other students start spawning in, chatting about how insanely fast the test felt. Stepping off, the MC mutters to himself, super annoyed that the fun ended way too early. Some students sigh in relief about surviving the dangers and start hyping up Suzaiyoking's. He secretly admits that his rival's angel class is genuinely busted for playing solo. Suddenly, a classmate comes running his way, looking super relieved to finally spot him in the courtyard. The chubby guy Zhang Dan runs up to Wei Dao all hyped and asks if his bro can guess what level he hit. Aiming high, the MC guesses level 5, but his friend thinks that's way too crazy and would honestly get him a statue from the principal. Super proud of himself, Zhang Dan flexes that he hit level 4, which is absolutely massive for his track. Giving him props, Wei Dao says the bonus points are in the bag, while the chubby guy playfully brags that he's gonna carry his bro from now on. Suddenly, the chill vibe completely dies when the popular Su Zioking stomps through the courtyard, shouting the MC's name. Sweating the situation, Zhang Dan warns that the school queen is back to start drama, but promises he's gonna handle it. But before he even finishes his sentence, a hand ruthlessly shoves the chubby guy by the shoulder to clear him out of the way. Taking the heavy shove, Zhang Dan gets tossed aside, completely shook by the girl's sudden toxic behavior. The poor guy faceplants right onto the courtyard floor, letting out a loud groan from the random wipe. Totally triggered, Wei Dao flares up his dark aura and warns her he's not holding back just because she's a girl after she hurt his bro. Acting tough, Su Zioking draws her glowing golden sword, saying she doesn't need pity and telling him to bring everything he's got. With a clean backstep, the MC dodges her first swing and preps his gear as she rushes him aggressively. Standing in the middle of the courtyard, the two rivals lock eyes, sizing each other up before the real brawl starts. Launching a fast wave of golden light, Su Zioking taunts him, saying his reflexes are way too laggy for her. But the MC blocks the glowing slash with his dark shovel and claps back that her attack is kind of weak for an epic class. Stunned by the solid block, Su Zioking pops an inspect spell and is mind blown to see he just tanked an 80% power strike. The data shows Wei Dao already hit level 7, leaving his rival completely speechless at his busted leveling speed. Going for another swing, the girl remembers she literally sweated the dungeon non-stop and barely scraped level 6. Out of nowhere, the handle of the dark shovel parries her golden blade just inches away from the target, completely stuffing her play. Playing it cool, the MC casually asks the girl why she didn't even try to dodge his quick dash. Taking the L again, Su Zioking drops her guard super salty and complains that dodging was pointless since she already lost to him anyway. But she warns him not to get too cocky about hitting level 7, since the real tiebreaker will be the massive unified exam. Watching her walk away, Wei Dao sighs in relief, wondering why she has to be so insanely competitive about literally everything. All around, the crowd of students starts whispering, totally shook that the guy speedrun to level 7 in the dungeon in just one day. Just then, Wei Dao drops a little smirk, thinking about how that rich kid Kyan probably set up a nice little trap for him at the end. Right after, Zhang Dan pats his bro on the back, complaining that he took a shove for nothing since Wei Dao didn't mention he was such a high level. Laughing off the complaint, the MC points out it wasn't his fault, since his bro was the one trying to play the hero. Saying bye to his friend, Wei Dao mentions he's got some important stuff to handle outside of school and strolls off. Carrying a massive green sack full of gear on his back, the guy hits a busy street looking for the right spot. Standing outside the trade market, the guy plans to dump all his dungeon loot to secure a massive bag of cash. Suddenly, a shady dude pops up right behind Wei Dao, asking if the young bro is looking to cop some nuke. Meanwhile, a luxury white car is speeding through the city streets toward the rich neighborhood under the sunset. Inside the ride, Su Zioking's dad notices his daughter looking super down and asks why she's so depressed. Looking really sad, the girl straight up asks her dad if she's just completely useless after everything that went down. Looking through the rearview mirror, her dad shuts down that nonsense, hyping her up as easily the most brilliant student in her class. But she claps back, upset that even with all the hype, she still took an L to Wei Dao again today. Seeing her so bummed out, her dad gets serious and asks if she wants him to personally teach the kid a lesson to fix the problem. Refusing to get carried, the girl swears she's going to outgrind and beat her rival using nothing but her own sweat and skills. She then reminds her dad that her rival roughed up someone from the Kyan family and asks him to run interference when their revenge squad rolls out. Laughing out loud, her dad agrees to the favor, but secretly decides to send some goons to dig into the kid's sketchy background anyway. Back at the market, the merchant swears his prices are legit, but the MC tells him he actually just wants to sell his loot. So the guy offers to buy the whole stash directly to save time, making Wei Dao instantly suspect he's just trying to skim a massive commission. Playing the victim, the merchant swears on his life that he's got the fairest rates in the whole block and would never scam a fresh customer. Wei Dao just drops the giant green sack on the floor with a heavy thud and tells the guy to give an honest price check on every piece. Opening the bag, a blinding beam of gold and yellow light shoots out, showing off the crazy high rarity of the entire loot drop. Shocked to find a rare level 5 slime sword in the pile, the man asks how much the MC expects to get for the 25 pieces. The merchant throws out a flat offer of 15,000 coins to buy out the entire lot right then and there. Holding up 2 fingers, the MC demands at least 20,000 coins, knowing the actual market value of his rare drops. Acting super fast, the merchant shakes his hand and locks in the deal immediately, leaving the guy with a terrible feeling that he just got scammed. Staring at his own hands, Wei Dao heavily regrets his life choices, realizing he definitely let those items go way below market price. Right after closing the deal, the hustler asks if he goes to King Yang's first academy, and the young guy just nods, wondering why he cares. The man then pulls out a small magic storage bag with 10 cubic meters of inventory space and promises it'll be a total lifesaver for the exams. Interested in the quality of life upgrade, the guy decides to just ask straight up what the final price tag on the storage bag is. The guy claims the retail price is 50,000 but offers a bro discount to the student, dropping it to just 30,000 coins. Not falling for the salesman's yapping, Wei Dao decides to hard counter and cuts the offer exactly in half, pitching only 15,000 for it. To his absolute shock, the merchant snaps up the offer instantly and declares the deal closed, 0 refunds allowed. Right away, a wire transfer notification pops up on his phone, confirming the payment of 15,000 went through successfully. Holding the new bag, the guy gets that awful sinking feeling that he just fell for another one of the street hustlers' traps. Walking through the tight alleys of a basic residential area, the guy mentions he's just looking to rent a tiny room for exactly 1 month. Listening quietly to the kid's pitch, the old man with long white hair simply nods, agreeing to the deal. The white-haired elder complains about having to babysit a newly awakened kid, thinking his family boss is being way too dramatic over nothing. Just then, Wei Dao is chilling, walking down the urban village streets when a pretty lady starts tailing him closely. The young widow Wu Xinyu calls out, totally surprised to see him back in the neighborhood after the trials. The guy asks if something's wrong, but she just says she heard all about his insane W at the awakening ceremony. Hyped by the news, Wu Xinyu suddenly pulls the guy into a hug, leaving him completely flustered by the random physical touch. While holding him, she drops that she's got a special present stashed for him, making the MC super curious about what it is. Leaning in close to his ear, the woman acts all mysterious and softly asks him to close his eyes for a sec. Feeling awkward, the young guy remembers her husband passed away years ago and starts overthinking what her endgame is. But she just steps back, revealing a small wooden box she was holding the whole time. Intrigued by the sketchy item, the guy pops the box open to see what's inside. The system scans it and reveals it's a mysterious bone finger that buffs summons and unlocks temporary transformations. Wu Xinyu then explains the relic belonged to her late summoner husband, and she heavily suspects it got him unalived. Wei Dao puts 2 and 2 together, realizing she wants him to play detective and get payback in exchange for the epic loot. Thinking over the offer, the MC weighs the crazy risks of jumping into a deadly investigation versus the massive payout. But his eyes lock in, showing he's already made up his mind about taking the quest. Knowing the stakes, Wei Dao accepts Wu Xinyu's mission, well aware that high risk always equals high reward. He promises Wu Xinyu he'll sweat it out and figure out the mystery behind the item. She hugs him again, super grateful, calling the guy her savior, even though he jokes that he literally hasn't done anything yet. But Wu Xinyu insists that just him taking the job takes a huge weight off her chest. The guy says his goodbyes, saying he's heading back to his room while she waves him off. The second he's inside, Wei Dao carefully locks the door to start doing some testing. Chilling in his room, the guy stares at the bone and realizes this creepy item definitely packs some serious heat. So the MC decides to trigger the bone's power to field test its actual utility. Focusing his energy, he pops the Undead transformation skill, sparking a crazy bright purple aura all around him. Suddenly, a blinding purple flash fills the whole room, completely hiding the guy's body. Just like that, the guy morphs entirely into a skeleton, and the system hits him with a warning that the tech drains 1% of his XP per minute. Hyped by his new form, Wei Dao notices all his stats got a massive buff from the transformation. He figures the physical upgrade must have boosted every single part of his frame. So the MC looks down, expecting to see some serious upgrades in certain areas. But he gets super tilted, realizing that since he's literally just bones down there, the buff is completely useless. Panicking, Wei Dao demands to revert to normal, totally over this weirdly specific upgrade. A swirl of purple smoke wraps around the guy as he cancels the sun. Back in his human skin, the young guy sighs in relief, glad he actually has full control over the toggle. But he notes the XP drain is way too steep to spam that skill for very long. Suddenly, a sketchy noise out in the hallway grabs Wei Dao's attention. Suspicious, the guy asks who's camping outside his door, waiting for someone to talk. But it stays dead silent while the doorknob slowly starts twisting. The MC steps up to the door, asking why the random visitor is ghosting him. The door slowly creeps open, showing only a dark shadow standing in the dim hall. A white-haired old man pops up, asking if the kid is actually Wei Dao. Spooked by the jump scare, the guy mistakes the old dude for a ghost and throws a punch. But the old man flexes some insane reflexes, catching the kid's punch like it's absolutely nothing. Totally chill, the man tells the kid to cool it, explaining he's just the new neighbor. Laughing it off, the neighbor praises the guy's reaction time and drops a hint about his young boss being interested in him. Right after, the old man dips, saying he just wanted to say hi, leaving Wei Dao totally confused. Alone in his room, Wei Dao tries to decode what the old man meant by that cryptic message. The next day, birds are flying across a clear blue sky, kicking off a brand new grind. In the Academy Square, hundreds of students are grouped up, sweating over the final leaderboard results. Hyped for the event, Su Zioking mentions she can't wait to see who took the #1 spot. Spotting her rival, the girl asks how the heck he speedrun to level 7 so fast. Mind blown by his answer, she questions if he seriously managed to solo a boss. Just then, the principal takes the stage to officially drop the rankings for the practical exam. The glowing jumbo screen flexes Wei Dao's run, showing he wiped out the slime boss and elite mobs. Reading the stats, the girl's jaw drops as she realizes her rival wasn't capping at all. The crowd starts whispering, absolutely shook that an undead summoner just dunked on the school's top prospects. The principal keeps reading, announcing Su Zioking locked in second place after clearing a level 5 Wolf King. Salty about taking second, the girl admits her rival is op, but warns him the beef isn't over. Super chill, Wei Dao replies he'll be ready for the 1v1 whenever she wants the smoke. On stage, the principal reminds everyone they've got exactly 29 days until the region's massive unified exam. Ready to keep grinding, the MC dips from the courtyard while the other students watch him leave. Speedwalking, Wei Dao plans to hit the dungeon plaza so he can power level as fast as possible. On the quest board, a bunch of bounties for mob materials are listed with huge payouts. Checking the screen, the guy sees a lot of easy money, but decides to skip the barren prairie. Instead, he locks in the dangerous Orc Lair dungeon as his next training zone. Reaching the transit hub, the guy steps up to one of the active magic circles. Feeling confident, he walks right into the blue portal scaled for his current level. Instantly, magic energy wraps around his body, launching the fast travel to the dungeon. Spawning into the new map, Wei Dao feels off about the dense forest since it doesn't look like a lair at all. The quiet zone has little animals running around, making it seem like a totally normal woods. But the MC remembers the lore about ghouls running in packs and decides to stay sweating. Suddenly, a bunch of glowing red eyes pop up hiding in the dark canopy right above him. A rabid ghoul parkours from branch to branch, lining up a direct dive bomb on the intruder. Surprised by the fast rush, the MC complains about having to deal with another annoying sneak attack. Moving fast, the guy sidesteps the beast, roasting the mobs for always trying to backstab him. Mad that it whiffed, the ghoul drops a loud howl trying to scare the young summoner. Punishing the whiff, one of the skeleton mages lands a clean hit, dropping the beast hard. The system pings that the level 1 ghoul was eliminated, dropping 25 XP. Recalling his survival guides, Wei Dao knows that where there's one mob, there's a whole squad nearby. Right on cue, dozens of starving beasts burst out of the bushes, totally surrounding his mini army. Faced with the gank, the young guy smirks, glad his game sense was totally on point. Wasting zero time, the guy throws up his hand and tells his crew to drop a full AoE explosion barrage. Instantly, a massive wave of fireballs gets spammed at the ghouls trying to push forward. A chain of massive explosions nukes the zone, feeding the guy dozens of extra XP points. After the wipe, the defeated mob's bodies just drop lifeless onto the sunlit grass. Gripping his iron shovel, the MC celebrates how easy it is to farm bodies right off spawn. The guy happily starts digging graves, promising to hook them up with top-tier burials. About 10 minutes later, a bunch of creepy graves are scattered all over the dense forest floor. Suddenly, the system spams him with loot, incenses, body oils, and a fresh perception skill. Holding the new magic book, the guy hypes up his luck pulling the advanced perception spell. He gears up to test the new tech, looking to optimize his run for the rest of the dungeon. Celebrating hard, Wei Dao is thrilled about saving a literal fortune by pulling these premium skill books for free. He notices he's stacked enough XP and decides to instantly dump it into upgrading his skeleton boar. Pulling the sketchy bone finger out of his wooden box, the guy gets ready to trigger the mob's evolution sequence. Wei Dao touches the skeletal frame of his summon and announces the upgrade ritual is a go. Suddenly, a massive flood of dark purple energy totally engulfs the skeleton boar. A system pop-up confirms the skeleton boar has been successfully ranked up to the beast general tier. Checking out the monster's bulky new armored form, the MC is blown away by its absolutely busted new stats. Super happy with the upgrade, Wei Dao gives the beast some head pats and officially dubs it Peppa. Next, the young guy pulls out the tomb incense to use as a booster and kicks off his skeleton mage's evolution. Channeling his energy, the MC tags his bony minion and orders it to trigger its own upgrade. Instantly, a violent blast of dark purple flames swallows the skeleton mage right in the middle of the woods. A fresh system notification shows the creature successfully leveled up into the Op Boss class. Admiring the sick red robe drip, Wei Dao decides to name his new elite minion Aints. With all the upgrades locked in, the MC hypes up that his squad is 100% battle ready. The young guy then starts sprinting through the trees, hunting for the dangerous orc's main base. Locked in, Wei Dao jumps straight into enemy territory, fully planning to turn the whole place upside down. Just then, a squad of beefy minotaurs wielding battle axes body blocks the guy's path, dropping angry moos. With zero hesitation, a literal storm of magic fireballs gets launched straight at the enemies in the woods. Caught totally off guard by the spam, one of the monsters just drops a confused moo right before impact. A massive explosion blasts the beasts, sending the minotaurs flying through the devastating fire. The MC throws his arm forward, ordering his entire undead army to full send a violent charge. Furious about getting spawn-camped, a massive purple minotaur roars loudly, swinging its giant axe. Having the time of his life, Wei Dao flexes his purple magic and says he's ready to grind until he drops today. The brawl gets crazy as the skeleton minions relentlessly push into the horde of raging monsters. 3 hours later, Peppa huffs, tired and glowing with energy after wiping out endless mobs in the forest. Walking through the loot, Wei Dao gets a system ping confirming he successfully cleared his first-class promotion. The pop-up breaks down that his immortality talent got buffed, letting him redirect any damage he takes to one of his summons. Shook by the update, the MC realizes this literally makes him immortal as long as he has minions nearby. Right after, the system drops that his exclusive shovel unlocked the ability to revive any buried corpse under his direct control. Holding his iron shovel, the guy sarcastically jokes that grave robbing is a seriously villainous strat. Hidden deep in the thick bushes, a golden bow snipes a lethal arrow straight at the guy. The projectile slices through the air at insane speeds, leaving a glowing red trail behind it. Sensing a random danger pulling up behind him, Wei Dao spins around, dropping a confused sound. But the arrow hits the guy dead in the chest, blasting him backward with crazy force. A violent cloud of smoke and dust completely swallows the spot where the MC hit the floor. Sprawled on the grass with the arrow literally stuck in his chest, the young guy coughs up blood, feeling the massive hit. Blood starts soaking his gear as he lies completely still after tanking the lethal shot. But then the MC snaps his eyes open and drops a sarcastic laugh, realizing what just happened. Casually standing back up without a single scratch, Wei Dao celebrates that the damage successfully transferred to his summons. Far away, Peppa roars in pain after eating the transferred damage from its master. Because of that, one of his skeleton grunts completely explodes, absorbing all the destructive energy from the snipe. Out of nowhere, a ripped, agile beast jumps out of the trees, doing a mid-air spin with its sharp weapons ready. Popping his advanced perception, Wei Dao locks onto the new enemy to scan its combat stats. A screen pulls up the stats for the level 15 Minotaur Yason, showing it's a crazy dangerous elite sniper of an advanced class. Blown away by the data, the MC is shocked to find out this mob actually has AI intelligence in an active class. Yason immediately fires another massive arrow that rips through the air straight at the MC. But Wei Dao uses his stats to dodge the projectile, feeling the heavy wind breeze right past his face. Waving away the dust, the guy breathes a sigh of relief, knowing he'd already be dead twice without his damage transfer. The elite archer lands perfectly on the forest floor, getting ready for its next combo. Feeling cocky, the MC tells the enemy it's out of tricks, and now it's his turn to go on the offensive. Spooked by the kid's insane tankiness, the elite mob takes a step back, looking visibly nervous. But to Wei Dao's absolute shock, Yason decides to nope out and start sprinting away across the map. Salty about the cowardly retreat, the guy orders his entire undead army to chase the runner down immediately. The elite archer leaps straight into a dark, creepy cave hidden right in front of them. Sprinting right behind it, Peppa charges furiously on the MC's orders to make sure it doesn't get away. Standing at the entrance of the dark cave, the guy eyes the tight gap and wonders if this is actually a safe house. Taking his first step into the dark, Wei Dao gets a jump scare when he steps right on a human skeleton left on the floor. Creeped out by the spooky zone, the young guy wonders why there are so many dead bodies dumped here. He then spots a bunch of other skeletons, wearing busted armor scattered all over the dark tunnels. Realizing how sketchy this is, the guy suddenly figures out he just walked straight into a massive trap. Instantly, a huge rockslide crashes down, totally blocking the only exit out of the dark cave. Then dozens of hungry red eyes start glowing in the shadows along the rocky walls. Sarcastically clapping, Wei Dao praises the enemy's strat, admitting that smart mobs actually know how to set up a solid gank. But the young guy flares his purple aura and warns them he's not going out that easily. The horde of raging minotaurs all rush in at once, kicking off a massive brawl against his front line. The clash throws sparks and dust everywhere as the skeleton warriors hold the line against the heavy axe swings. Playing off the shield wall, the undead strike back at the mobs with swords and shields in the middle of the chaos. Watching closely, the MC claims the enemy's weapons will just break, while his army literally has infinite durability. Throwing his arm up, the guy orders his summons to dump all their MP and nuke the enemies. Following orders, Aints charges up a massive spiritual fireball that completely lights up the cave. The devastating impact spams his screen with kill feeds, confirming a bunch of high-level mobs just got wiped. Wrapped in the system's golden level-up glow, the young guy celebrates easily hitting level 12. Suddenly, a crazy earthquake rocks the cave floor as a colossal new beast drops in. It's a massive minotaur boss covered in red flames, roaring with pure rage at the human who dared to invade. Looking totally unfazed, Wei Dao just hypes up the chance to farm a massive chunk of XP off the new boss. With an angry roar, the giant boss orders his squad to rush in and execute the intruder immediately. A devastating ground slam sends several skeleton mages flying and shattering into pieces. Cornered by the angry horde, the surviving summons try to hold their ground while the boss drops another deafening roar. Leaping with its giant axe, the monster targets Wei Dao directly, telling him to go straight to hell. The young guy just smirks, saying the timing is absolutely perfect and that he's gonna put him in the dirt. Furious that it missed its last swing, the elite beast throws a massive tantrum, smashing the ground everywhere. But a skeletal foot casually steps into the dust, completely stuffing the giant opponent's rush. Trying to crush the defender, the boss swings its axe but gets super triggered when a basic skeleton blocks it. Wei Dao pops up right behind his minion, laughing at the boss and calling checkmate on the fight. Panicking, the Minotaur roars, charging up a crazy amount of fiery energy in its hands to strike back. But Peppa beats him to it, blasting a devastating wave of fire straight into the enemy's chest. Punishing the whiff, Aints jumps in too, dropping an insanely heavy combo magic attack. The double team creates a blinding flash that rips through the boss without giving it any chance to guard. A colossal explosion totally nukes the zone, turning the giant mob into literal dust on the floor. Right after, the system congratulates the guy on hitting level 13, while he praises Aints for being an absolute menace. Gripping his iron shovel, the guy hypes himself up, announcing it's finally his time to shine. Dozens of purple energy orbs start floating all over the place where the mobs got wiped. Super pumped, the young guy checks out his new loot, scoring special incense and even a heavy battle axe. Laughing with the magic loot in his hands, Wei Dao celebrates that he's gonna make serious bank off these drops. Stashing the items, the guy goes back to walking down the dark cave tunnels to keep the grind going. Hiding in the shadows, the elite archer drops a creepy smile, revealing he's been camping the MC this whole time. Out of nowhere, a volley of energy arrows shoots through the air, but the young guy speed dodges the sneak attack. Seeing the arrows stuck in the floor right in front of him, Wei Dao mutters, impressed by the sniper's crazy aim. Shocked by the guy's reflexes, the elite minotaur is completely dumbfounded that his ambush totally missed. Pointing a finger to mock him, the MC asks if the little calf actually thought he was out of stamina. Ain't steps up looking epic right next to his master, proving the enemy's strat completely backfired. Raging, the elite sniper demands to know how a scrub summoner can keep so many pets active at once. But Wei Dao just claps back, asking why a wild mob like him even has human-level brain cells. Done with the yapping, the guy throws his hand up and tells his army to absolutely rush the opponent with zero chill. The skeletal warriors swarm the Minotaur, following their master's order to the letter. Annoyed by the swarm, the elite sniper screams at the guy not to celebrate the W too early. The elite mob jumps back, releasing a massive wave of mystic energy to charge up its ultimate move. Instantly, a chain of brutal explosions blasts the skeleton front line, filling the cave with thick smoke. Using the smokescreen, the Minotaur fires a ground wave that tears up the floor straight toward the squad. He then channels his earth arrow, launching a colossal golden beam right at the young summoner. The blast literally cracks the ground, sending a scary earthquake through the whole cave layout. Sweating the incoming nuke, Wei Dao realizes this is a heavy-duty AoE attack. Massive golden spikes violently erupt from the floor, completely destroying everything in their path. Unable to dodge the cheap shot, a bunch of skeleton warriors get totally crushed by the Earth's raw power. The guy points forward and orders his elite summons to go in and end the fight immediately. With a fierce roar, Peppa launches an insanely fast dash wrapped in purple flames straight at the enemy. Spooked by the monster's relentless push, the elite sniper barely has time to react to the crazy speed. The heavy collision hits like a truck, as the skeleton boar smashes the opponent backward with raw stats. Too weak to tank the knockback, the Minotaur lets out a desperate groan, knowing it's game over. A fiery explosion swallows the elite archer, totally ending his run in the burning cave. Taking the full brunt of the fire, the Minotaur screams in pain, barely staying on its feet in the chaos. Giving the enemy zero breathing room, Aints pops out of the shadows, blasting a huge fireball right in its face. Groaning from the insane heat damage, the low HP opponent tries to block the spell's destructive energy. The fire core on the monster's chest starts glowing crazy bright, right before the final nuke goes off. The brutal explosion launches the beast's body across the room, leaving only smoke and dust in the cave. Checking out the damage, the MC shakes his head, roasting how absolutely pathetic his elite opponent looks now. Walking up to the downed body, Wei Dao is surprised to see the elite mob is still somehow clinging to 1 HP. Even though he wants to bury it, the guy decides to drag the live beast outside to hand it over to the city devs for inspection. Outside the portal, the guards are whispering, totally stressed about why no students have extracted from the challenge yet. Suddenly, the giant blue magic portal starts glowing crazy bright, pumping out a massive wave of spiritual energy. A heavy wave of dark power starts leaking from the rift, catching the attention of the guards on standby. Then dozens of skeleton mages start marching out of the portal, following their summoner master. Relieved by the sudden activity, the military guys point at the gate, hyped that someone finally made it back. The guards instantly recognize young Wei Dao, looking like an absolute boss leading his undead army into the courtyard. But everyone's jaw drops when they see a bunch of other beaten-up, passed-out students getting dragged out right behind him. Explaining the whole mess to the guard, the young guy reports that a high IQ boss set up an ambush and wiped the students one by one. Shook by the intel, the military inspector decides to page the higher-ups to send high-level backup to clear the boss. But the MC just tosses the elite Minotaur's body on the floor, casually mentioning they won't have to bother. Pointing at the knocked-out mob, the guy flexes that the zone's biggest threat has already been completely handled. Mind blown to see a level 15 beast, the officer asks if he was the one who bagged it, and the guy just gives a whatever response. Taking advantage of the moment, the MC asks where the vendor is to cash out his dungeon loot for actual money. Pointing to the main building, the guard tells him to head straight to the front desk over there. Cool with the directions, Wei Dao casually walks off, leaving the authorities to deal with the rescued students. Walking into the lobby, the young guy politely greets the receptionist, asking to cash in his drops. The guy then dumps dozens of premium Minotaur horns on the desk and asks for an honest price check on everything. Eyes wide at the insane pile of loot, the worker is totally lost on how he managed to farm so much gear. After doing a quality check, she calculates the rare stash is worth exactly 320,000 coins. Super hyped about the payout, Wei Dao pulls out his phone and flashes his payment QR code to lock in the deal. A quick pop-up on his screen confirms the full amount was direct deposited straight into his account. With his pockets loaded, the guy celebrates his W, planning to hit the trade market again to hunt for more op items. Heading back to the trade market, Wei Dao walks toward the giant commercial hub as the sun starts setting. He speedwalks, really hoping he doesn't run into that scammer merchant from earlier. But fate trolls him hard, and the sketchy vendor waves him down happily, asking if the kid was looking for him. He literally bumps into the exact guy he was trying to avoid. Out of patience, he pushes the guy away, claiming he's not holding any good loot today. The merchant grabs him like an old buddy, promising he's got some god-tier inventory. Ignoring the dude, the MC just keeps walking. Then the vendor flashes a skill book and a purple potion, acting all sad that nobody wants to buy them. Stopping dead in his tracks, he looks back, totally hooked. A special evolution potion and a guard summon book pop up on his UI. Wei Dao instantly pulls a 180 and asks with serious interest how much those two relics cost. The businessman takes the chance to troll the kid, reminding him how he just tried to walk away. Trying to play nice, the MC decides to dump his entire bag of premium loot on the ground and asks for a straight trade. A bunch of rare relics spill all over the asphalt. Giving it a snobby look, the merchant lowballs him with an offer of 150,000. Tilted, the guy points at the axe, saying that peace alone is worth a massive bag. The merchant respects the hustle, admitting the kid learned how to haggle super fast. So the vendor calculates the two items at 200,000 and pitches a direct swap for the kid's entire stash. Snapping up the deal instantly, the MC locks it in. As they part ways, the man drops some advice. Never show your full hand right off the bat. Watching the hustler walk away, the young guy admits the dude actually has crazy charisma. Even still, the guy waves from afar, telling him to come back when he's got fresh loot. Walking with his magic minions, the young guy looks for an empty spot to test out the new evolution potion. A sketchy silhouette in a cap stalks him from behind, celebrating that the kid is finally solo. With a toxic grin, the enemy mutters that the kid messed with the wrong squad. He pulls out his glowing blue dagger. The rogue sneaks up for the gank. Sensing the heavy aggro from behind, Wei Dao instantly spins around. With an aggressive leap, the attacker yells that the Cayenne family put a bounty on the kid's head. But the lethal strike just bounces right off one of his skeleton soldiers' shields. Laughing it off, the assassin pushes his blade against the barrier, telling the skeleton to go to hell. With a brutal slash, the bone warrior gets completely shattered. Thinking this is way too easy, he complains about wasting his time on a noob. Suddenly, a hand taps his shoulder. Wei Dao pops up completely untouched right behind him, asking if he really thought he got the W. Before the guy can even answer, the young guy pulls his elite blade, cutting the conversation short. With a lightning-fast swing, the MC tags the enemy right in the neck. The attacker drops to the pavement, completely mind-blown. His HP drains out while he desperately tries to process what just happened. A system pop-up confirms he eliminated the level 39 enemy and hands over 30,000 XP. Putting his dagger away, the guy feels kinda bad for having to use a legendary blade on a human player. Later on, a full moon lights up the thick forest. After burying the body deep in the woods, the young guy gets some funky items and underworld coins. He laughs, realizing that putting players in the dirt drops completely different loot tables. Staring at the weird paper with a skull on it, the young guy tries to figure out what this mystic cash is even for. Suddenly, ghosts pop out of the bill and the system announces the underworld shop is officially unlocked. A massive green screen opens up right in front of him, packed with legendary gear. He's completely hyped by all the hidden secrets packed into that mystic UI. But his hype gets totally killed when he sees holy books priced at hundreds of billions of coins. He quickly realizes the Imperial armor sets also cost absolute fortunes. Holding his single $10 bill, he complains that he's too broke to buy anything. So he closes the shop, deciding to grind for more cash later. Focused on buffing his squad, he decides to dump his resources into the skeleton guard. A purple portal flashes bright on the forest floor. A bulky creature in iron armor with a massive shield spawns in, showing off its elite stats. Loving the warrior's heavy build, he praises its insane tanking potential. Then he dumps the evolution potion right on his soldier's skull, telling it to transform. A dark flash swallows the guardian, ranking the minion up to the great general tier. He gets super hyped seeing the creature's constitution spike to almost 4,000. The guy officially names the new giant Little Qiang. Next, the young guy calls up his mage Aints to run the exact same upgrade. Pouring the potion, he watches the new transformation kick off. Aints respawns looking like an absolute boss, rocking a red cape and wrapped in flames as he levels up. He celebrates the minion's absolutely busted spirit stat. Satisfied with his team's buffs, the young guy decides to head home and log off for the night. From far away, the white-haired elder watches in total awe at the kid's insane progression. The next day, the massive Su family mansion looks super impressive in the morning light. In the boardroom, the family boss gets a debrief from his trusted spy. The old guy reports that the kid actually soloed the elite assassin and even buried him in the woods. Shook by the update, the boss wonders why the kid bothered with a burial. He quickly figures out the kid is op enough to hold his own. The dad knows his daughter wants a fair 1v1 and wants to keep the boy safe. So he orders his security detail to stay active to block any more ganks from the enemy. Meanwhile, a mystic portal opens up inside the dangerous orc dungeon. Wei Dao steps through, totally locked in to clear the zone's secrets. Wei Dao jumps through the forest, determined to 100% clear the orc lair today. But in the distance, a group of minotaurs is grouped around an altar, doing some kind of sketchy ritual. Peeking from behind a tree, the young guy realizes something really weird is going down in the clearing. His UI scans the area and reveals the squad leader is a level 20 minotaur priest. The guy figures out he got kited away earlier just so he wouldn't interrupt their sacrifice event. Suddenly, the mob sniffs the air and realizes there's an intruder camping near the temple. Furious, he orders his guards to capture the trespasser immediately. With zero hesitation, the Minotaur warriors W-key straight toward the breach. Seeing the rush, Wei Dao calls up Little Qiang to hold the front line and tank the impact. Instantly, the giant skeleton throws up his massive purple shields, completely blocking the choke point. The beasts slam into the barrier but literally do zero damage to the defense. Right then, the MC commands Aints to start the counterattack. A massive fire explosion completely wipes the Minotaurs in one shot. Shook, the priest watches his loyal warriors get sent to the lobby with zero effort. The creature drops a devastating red aura, charging up his own ultimate. Raising his staff, he begs Mother Earth for supreme power. But Wei Dao just trolls him, asking if the beast actually thinks it has time to finish its cast animation. Wasting no time, the young guy tells Peppa to finish the opponent off. With a lightning-fast dash, the skeleton beast rams straight into the priest's chest. The heavy impact launches the mob boss brutally into the dirt. Panicking, the opponent begs the creature to stay away. But Peppa leaps on him, finishing the fight with a crushing blow. The system confirms the W, handing over 20,000 XP. Covered in golden light, the MC celebrates finally hitting level 14. Looking at the floor, the guy notices the enemy dropped a sketchy skill book. He checks it out and sees it's a rank B advanced meditation tech. Mind blown by the drop, Wei Dao realizes he just scored an absolute relic for free. Without overthinking, the young guy tells the system to auto-learn the new spell. A glowing pop-up confirms the tech is fully mastered. Sitting on the grass, the guy decides to instantly test how OP his new power is. While meditating, he gets a massive stat buff and dings level 16. Shook, the guy realizes going AFK is literally better for farming than actually grinding mobs. Deciding to save his energy, the young guy hops into the return portal, planning to just chill until examined. A few days later, the city streets are buzzing as the sun comes. In his room, Wei Dao finishes his daily grind, wrapped up in a bright golden ore. Opening his eyes, the guy feels absolutely ready to dominate today's unified exam. Super confident, the MC gears up to finally flex his true potential. Meanwhile, the massive arena at Qingyang's first academy is getting set up for the huge event. In the stands, hundreds of students are nervously talking about how sweaty the practical test is going to be this year. Center stage, the announcer drops that the mobs for the test have finally spawned in. A screen shows the enemies range from goblins and minotaurs all the way to slimes from level 10 to 20. The proctor explains that each student gets to pick exactly how many and what kind of mobs they want to 1v1. Grabbing the mic, the host calls up the first challenger, Liu Ming. Jumping down smoothly, the young swordsman drops into the arena, totally ready to brawl. Confident, Liu Ming locks in his choice, 10 normal minotaurs and 1 level 15 boss minotaur. Instantly, the mobs spawn in, completely surrounding the challenger. Wasting no time, Liu Ming pops his skill, equipping his Crimson Eyes armor. Wrapped in red flames, the guy gets a glowing shield all over his body. He pulls out his flaming sword, glowing bright right in front of the enemy squad. Watching from the crowd, the students recognize the famous level 5 slime sword he's rocking. Hearing that, Wei Dao gets super tilted, realizing the merchant bought it off him for pennies and flipped it for a massive bag. Down in the arena, the swordsman dashes in, spamming his lightning special attack. Moving crazy fast, he slices the minotaurs up in seconds with his shiny blade. He finishes his combo looking super clean in the arena. The explosion blast wipes out all the creatures at once, kicking up tons of dust. The scoreboard flashes 161 points for Liu Ming, making way for Su Zioking. Stepping up with her epic golden light sword, the girl gets ready for her run. Without blinking, she demands 5 goblin bosses locked at the max level of 20. Shook by the flex, the students start whispering about how absolutely broken her angel class is. Watching from afar, Wei Dao notices she's super sweaty and trying to outscore him at all costs. The massive green mobs spawn in the arena while everyone watches closely. Raging, the 5 elite monsters roar loudly, ready to flatten the challenger. Staying cool, Su Zioking spreads her glowing wings, charging up a crazy amount of golden energy. Leaping into the sky, she raises her holy sword to drop a devastating ultimate. With crazy precision, she fires off her holy light slash, ripping through the air at insane speed. A colossal beam of energy hits the floor, literally cutting the battlefield in half. With zero chance to guard, the beasts get completely deleted by the op strike. Shook by the play, the students can't even process that she wiped them all in one single hit. On the mic, the announcer hypes up that the girl just locked in a perfect score of 300 points. The crowd goes absolutely wild, screaming the school queen's name. Strutting confidently, Su Zioking taunts Wei Dao, telling him it's time to accept the L. Watching the show, the rival principals admit they're impressed and start gossiping about a hidden class. Super proud, Principal Wang happily confirms he's betting everything on his student. Curious about the kid's potential, the guest asks how many bosses he's planning to pull today. Thinking it over, Principal Wang says he expects the kid to clear at least 10 mobs without breaking a sweat. Hearing that, one of the principals calls Cap, saying 5 bosses is already the all-time exam record. Looking dead serious, Wang tells everyone to glue their eyes to the big screen if they want proof. The host calls Wei Dao to the arena and all eyes lock onto him. Walking in, the guy sneaks up to Su Zioking and asks her for a quick solid. He explains it's an easy favor for her family to pull off, promising he'll go full try hard and show his real stats if she agrees. In the stands, the students roast Wei Dao for being cocky, calling him shameless for talking like that. The girl drops her only condition. He has to actually beat her score before she agrees to the deal. The MC takes a confident step straight into the center of the massive battlefield. Standing in the middle, he waits chill while the crowd stares at him. Holding up one finger, the guy drops an insane request. He wants to fight 100 boss slimes at level 20 all at once. Completely shook by the crazy request, the host starts panicking and stuttering, not believing his ears. The students think he's literally trolling, saying he'll pass out from exhaustion before he even hits them all. The host asks if he's actually serious, but the guy says he's got the strat perfectly mapped out. He even adds that he actually wanted double the mobs, but the arena literally doesn't have the spawn space. Trying to hide his cringe, Principal Wang tells them to just drop the 100 mobs so the kid doesn't lose his hype. Having no excuse to say no, the examiner greenslights it but tells Wei Dao to watch his HP. Instantly, a massive teleport circle lights up the entire battlefield floor. An insane wave of giant blue slime spawns in, flooding almost every inch of the map. Not scared by the mob count at all, the MC pops his skill, calling in all his dark minions. The epic skeleton mage army rises from the shadows, wrapped in a thick purple. Right after the massive scary beast Peppa spawns in, roaring at the blue army. The crowd starts panicking, realizing the guy just pulled 3 general tier summons. Ignoring the haters, the slime horde starts speed jumping toward his defense line. Wei Dao's shield guards push up, body blocking the toxic spit to keep the rest of the squad safe. In the backline, the skeleton mages charge their fire spells, prepping a massive cover fire. The first wave of spells hits, setting off a chain reaction of explosions that turns the map into a literal firestorm. The MC throws his arm out, ordering his 3 elite generals to full send into the mob. Leading the push, the Op Mage Aints commands a total wipe of every creature left standing. Peppa launches a brutal ground charge, flattening and crushing any mob trying to kite away. At the same time, the giant little Kiang drops clean shield slices, cutting down slimes back to back. A massive purple fire explosion deletes the last few mobs trying to group up mid-map. Taking advantage of the gap, the Bone Warriors brutally finish off the stragglers with 0 counterplay. Up in the stands, a student whispers that watching elite mobs get stomped without fighting back is just brutal. Watching seriously, Su Zioking admits this is the actual op power her rival was flexing earlier. Looking at the trail of fire, the MC laughs out loud, claiming all this destruction is just pure explosive art. Right after, a colossal nuke officially ends the run, covering the arena in thick white smoke. The system confirms Wei Dao wiped all 100 slime bosses and cleared the challenge. Super emotional, the host screams that they literally just watched history being made. Pointing at the big screen, the host reveals the kid just locked in an all-time record score of 900 points. The students lose their minds, jumping up and clapping for the winner's absolutely broken run. Triggered by his rival's massive W, Qian Zhao storms out of the stadium, mouthing over his embarrassing L. He complains to himself that it's literally impossible, refusing to accept the MC got so fast. Su Zioking congratulates him on the perfect score and asks what that easy favor was. He gets serious and explains he's worried about the toxic Qian family pulling a revenge gank on his parents. Curious, the girl listens closely, trying to figure out how she can actually help him fix it. The MC puts his hands together, politely asking her to hook his family up with some security, promising to pay her back. Thinking it's a super chill request, the girl agrees instantly and promises she'll handle it. Super happy, the guy gives her a tight hug, thanking her for carrying him and keeping his family safe. Spotting the hug from afar, Qian Zhao completely loses it, screaming he's going to unalive the rival for touching Su Zioking. Hours later, a chill night finally rolls over the residential village where Wei Dao's apartment is. Chilling in his room, the young guy boots up his PC to check the state leaderboard updates. He logs in with his official details to see where he placed in the massive unified exam rankings. Suddenly, his phone starts buzzing with spam notifications, instantly grabbing his attention. Hearing someone knocking loud on his front door, he gets out of his gaming chair to see who pulled up. Grabbing the wooden doorknob, he asks out loud who's out there before unlocking it. Opening the door, he's shocked to see his dad, mom, and little sister standing in the hallway with their bags packed. Pouting playfully, the girl roasts her brother for taking so long, joking about what he was doing in there. Super happy, the MC smiles and says he didn't expect them to fast travel here so quickly. His dad explains they hit the road the second he called, while his mom tells everyone to get inside. Being nosy, the little sister runs straight to his desk chair, trying to snoop on his monitor. Staring closely at the glowing screen, the little girl's jaw drops when she reads the stats. The screen shows the official results. Wei Dao took the #1 spot in both the city and the entire state. Hyped by the W, she screams that her brother is officially the highest scorer of the whole unified exam. Casually flexing, he pats his sister on the head, claiming that score was just his normal baseline. Annoyed by his flex, the youngest promises she'll outscore him when it's her turn to run the exams. Super proud of the massive W, his parents congratulate him and ask which top-tier university he wants to lock in. Without hesitating, the MC says he's going to enroll at the famous Madu Vocational University in the next few days. He explains he's leaving soon and asks them to just chill here safely, since Su Xiaoking's family is providing security. Giving his shoulder a solid pat, his dad officially gives the green light and tells him to stay safe on the grind. The guy hugs his parents tight, soaking up the last few moments of downtime with his family before he ships out. A few days later, the epic modern campus of Madu Vocational University looks amazing in the bright sun. Walking with confidence, the MC hits the campus reception to check in as a freshman. He hands his official acceptance letter to the seniors running the entry desk. Looking super bored, the pink-haired worker just tells the kid to stand by with the other freshmen. Suddenly, a pretty girl pulling her suitcase rolls up, introducing herself to the seniors as Nanjai. Seeing her, the guys start simping hard, whispering that this year's freshmen are top tier. The seniors instantly rush over, offering to carry her bags and help her out. Watching the whole thing, Wei Dao notices the VIP treatment and finds their simping hilarious. The pink-haired senior volunteers to give the girl a private tour of the campus. Suddenly, a chubby kid comes running and sweating, carrying a massive bag and yelling for them to wait up. He introduces himself as Pei Kian and flashes his letter, proving he's a freshman too. Reading the name, the senior thinks it sounds super unlucky and drops a casual joke about it. Wasting no time, the senior tells all the new kids to follow him for the intro tour. Walking next to him, Wei Dao notices the chubby kid actually has a crazy strong spiritual aura. Curious, the MC pops his perception skill to stat check his new classmate. The UI drops the intel. Pei Kian is actually a hidden class level 11 blood sacrifice priest. Shook by the scan, Wei Dao is impressed to find another hidden class user right off the bat. Wei Dao introduces himself as a summoner, and the new bro jokes that they're basically the same build. Pei Kian hypes up summoners, and the MC humbly replies that he's not too bad himself. Pointing ahead, the senior explains that only the absolute sweats get to stay in the premium districts 1 through 4. Impressed by the rules, Pei Kian asks if the senior is highly ranked, and the guy proudly flexes that he is. Arriving at the desk, the senior introduces the group, telling the admin he brought the fresh meat for registration. He tells the squad to hand over their letters so the elder can assign their dorms. The 3 IDs get dropped on the desk for the official stat check. Reading the papers, the old man gets wide-eyed recognizing Nanjai, asking if she's really from that family. Without blinking, the elder hands her a golden key, announcing she's been placed in the Premium Villa 1 in District 1. Mind blown by the VIP pass, the senior asks if it's a glitch, but the old guy snaps back that his eyesight is perfectly fine. Embarrassed by the roast, the pink-haired guy hopes the other 2 noobs get tossed into the lowest-tier dorms. But the elder announces that both Pei Kian and Wei Dao are being sent straight to District 2. The senior absolutely loses it, realizing these 2 randoms just scored insanely high placements. Walking through the dorm courtyard, Pei Kian notices some weird activity and drops a confused sound. Pointing to the side, the chubby guy spots a pretty girl, and the MC is shocked to see his rival Su Xiaoking. Hearing her name, the epic class girl spins around to see who's calling her out. Pei Kian instantly runs over, trying to shoot his shot and introduce himself. But she leaves him on read, walking straight up to the MC to ask what room number he got. Completely crushed by the rejection, the chubby guy sighs, wondering if the 2 rivals are secretly dating. The girl then happily drops that she's also in District 2, super close to the MC's room. Suddenly, a soft voice calls the guy's name, interrupting the squad's chat. Wei Dao turns around, politely asking the new NPC who she is. The pretty instructor Wang Yaemin formally introduces herself as the new head of the summoner department. She walks up, hyping the kid's talent for snagging the highest score in the whole state. Acting super friendly, the teacher admits she's expecting him to totally carry the classes. A bit awkward from the sudden attention, the kid jokes, asking her not to go too hard on him in training. She officially welcomes him and drops a reminder about the massive welcome party happening tomorrow. Saying goodbye with a smile, Wang Yaemin walks away chill, leaving the guy thinking. Shaking his head, Wei Dao comments on her energy, while Nanjai throws shade, saying he looked like he was enjoying it. Confused by the stray, Wei Dao tries to defend himself, but the girl just walks off muttering about guys being trash. Meanwhile, in a completely dead zone, a massive dark purple energy storm starts ripping through the sky. Watching the glitch from far away, a guy in a suit is totally shook by the random mystic anomaly. Fixing his glasses in a panic, he realizes it's a dangerous new ancient ruin spawning in. Seeing the massive red flag, the guy sprints to report the emergency directly to the academy principal. Night drops over the campus, with a few windows still lit up in the quiet dorms. In his office, Principal Wang Yue sips his tea, chilling, and comments that the new freshman class looks super cracked. Suddenly, an assistant bursts into the room panicking, dropping the intel that new ruins just spawned out of nowhere. Shocked by the drop, the principal slams his desk, demanding to know what happened in the exact coords. Rushing, the worker explains the glitch hit 50 kilometers west in the desert, and the scale means it's a beginner tier zone. The principal cools down a bit, figuring if it's just beginner tier, it's not as bad as he thought. Plotting, the man decides to lead a raid party tomorrow and bring the freshmen just to spectate from a safe distance. But the assistant reminds him tomorrow is the welcome party, making the principal order them to move the venue near the ruins instead. Nodding along, the worker confirms he got the memo and runs off to set it up. The next morning, the students group up on the massive grassy field near the forest for the opening ceremony. Walking up with a smile, instructor Wang Yaemin greets the students, wishing everyone a good morning. Wei Dao walks up chill and replies politely, wishing his teacher a good morning back. Noticing the kid looks kind of out of it, she asks if he didn't sleep well, but the guy brushes it off, saying it's nothing. Stepping onto the stage with a mic, Principal Wang Yue introduces himself as the head of combat to kick things off. He announces that every freshman is getting 100 free starter points to spend on rare loot. Hyped about the free currency, some students talk about how the school vault must have absolute god-tier items. The principal then says everyone rolled high on luck today, making the kids ask what he means. He explains a beginner ruin spawned last night, and they're getting a VIP pass to spectate the raid. Hearing that, the crowd of freshmen goes crazy, hyped for the exclusive field trip. Curious, a blue-haired kid asks if they can actually go in, but the teacher shuts it down, saying it's way too sweaty for noobs. Thinking hard, Wei Dao tries to figure out the actual lore difference between ruins, dungeons, and secret realms. Super calmly, the instructor drops the lore that secret realms are actually completely real, independent worlds. She keeps going, saying that even their own planet is basically considered a secret realm by other alien races. She explains dungeons are just fragmented holograms of those realms, where mobs have zero AI and just constantly respawn. Intrigued, Wei Dao asks where the real secret realms go and what's the deal with ruins spawning. Straight up, the instructor clarifies that unlike the holograms, ruins don't just despawn on their own. Showing off holograms of loot, she mentions these zones are packed with op potions, skills, and gear. Getting serious, she reveals the ultimate drop is the Matrix core, keeping that fragment floating in space. She finishes by saying the entire ruin instantly despawns the second someone loots that core. Curious about the mechanics, Wei Dao asks how they actually zone in, while a purple energy starts creeping up right behind him. The teacher explains a thick fog drops at the entrance, and auto-teleports anyone standing in the AoE. Pointing to the side, Wei Dao sarcastically asks if that massive dark cloud pulling up is exactly what she's talking about. Looking where he pointed, the teacher is completely shook to see the hazard spreading super fast across the yard. Panicking, everyone realizes the ruins entrance AoE is rapidly expanding straight toward the squad. The teacher screams for everyone to run before the purple fog swallows the whole lobby. Trying to run, a red-haired kid freaks out when he realizes the portal is already sucking him. In the middle of the chaos, students scream for help as they get dragged into the dark whirlpool. Watching the disaster from afar, the principal and his staff are totally helpless against the storm's insane aggro. Sweating, the principal mentions a basic beginner ruin entrance is literally never supposed to glitch out and expand like this. Suddenly, an energy blast hits the zone, and the principal realizes someone is griefing the school event from the shadows. Tangled in the purple energy, Wei Dao tries to sweat his way out but gets totally hard CC'd by the whirlpool. Seeing the kid getting dragged into the dark, the teacher screams his name, trying to reach him. With zero time to react, the guy gets completely sucked into the dark portal, vanishing into the storm. With a heavy thud, the MC's boots hit solid dirt after the teleport finishes loading. Looking around, Wei Dao finds himself in a massive desert under an orange sky, complaining about getting dropped in this dead zone. Walking solo, the MC looks around, stressing over where the rest of his squad got teleported to. Noticing only his own footprints in the sand, the guy sighs, realizing he got separated from the lobby again. Out of nowhere, a massive giant centipede bursts out of the sand, kicking up a ton of dust. Spooked by the jump scare, the guy goes face to face with the giant glowing red eyes of the bug staring him down. Dodging the mob's first heavy lunge, the guy complains about finding such a weird beast in the desert. The monster slams its sharp tail into the floor, creating a massive shockwave that sends rocks flying everywhere. Quickly popping his scan spell, Wei Dao checks the combat stats of his new opponent. The UI shows it's a level 30 elite mob, absolutely stacked with strength and constitution stats. The young guy complains about his terrible RNG, running into a tier 2 elite mob right at the start of his run. Pushing the pace, the beast attacks crazy fast, while the guy frame-perfect dodges all the incoming hits. Ready to clap back, the MC calls in his undead army, popping purple magic circles all around him. With his summons on the field, the young guy points at the target and yells at his grunts to wipe the giant bug. Instantly, the skeleton mages surround the massive elite bug, cutting off any chance of it kiting away. Following orders, the Bone Squad charges up heavy magic fireballs to drop on the target. A massive volley of fiery explosions hits the monster dead-on, blanketing the zone in fire and dark smoke. Under the heavy barrage, the elite mob's armor starts cracking and breaking from the insane DPS. Hyped by the combo, Wei Dao laughs out loud, celebrating that his spam and exhaust strat is totally working. Punishing the stagger, the guy tells his summons to keep holding down the trigger and finish off the low HP enemy. The skeleton mages drop another massive rain of fireballs right onto the stunned target. A huge explosion completely deletes the elite creature, leaving nothing but smoke and junk on the battlefield. A system pop-up congratulates the guy for securing the W against the level 30 siege bug, dropping 1500 XP. Turning to ash in the sand, the defeated mob releases a bright golden glow showing off the loot drop. The Mystic UI flexes the reward, a heavy siege blade packing a solid 300 strength buff. Gripping his trusty shovel, the guy figures a high-level mob like that probably hides even more op loot. Ready to dig, he stands over the sand mound, claiming he's going to find whatever else is buried there. A bright light shoots from the ground as his shovel triggers its special digging tech. To his shock, a tiny magic plant with golden fruit instantly sprouts right on top of the grave. Glowing with crazy spiritual energy, one of the golden fruits pops open, flashing a blinding light in his face. 3 sketchy bills float in the air as the system confirms he just looted 3 underworld coins. Super hyped by the lucky drop, Wei Dao celebrates bagging that premium mystic cash for the secret shop. Holding the black bills, Wei Dao realizes that wiping mobs in this ruin also drops underworld coins, meaning he spawned in the perfect zone. He watches the new loot glow in his hands, admiring the heavy stats on the siege blade. Grouping up his massive undead army, the young guy decides it's time to push deeper into the desert map. Meanwhile, somewhere else in the giant desert, 3 students are walking super low on stamina while the wind kicks up dust. Feeling the heat penalty, the blonde guy stops for a second to catch his breath. His red-haired duo complains they've been walking forever without spotting a single player. Suddenly, a sketchy, fast rustling sound in the sand breaks the silence. Spooked by the noise behind him, the blonde guy spins around trying to spot what's pushing them. To his absolute horror, a massive monster leaps out while his teammate screams for him to run from the invading bug. Instantly, the beast's giant jaws snap shut, trying to untap the poor guy. Watching the nightmare from a distance, the other 2 teammates back up in a panic, realizing it's a lethal giant bug. Without overthinking, the red-haired guy turns around and sprints, screaming for his bro to run for his life. The guy in the gray suit freaks out asking what the heck that thing is, but his friend tells him to shut up and keep W-keying. Seeing all the dust and chaos from afar, Wei Dao notices players and realizes they're A from his university. Relieved, the MC waves happily, celebrating that he finally found his squad in this massive desert. Sprinting for his life, the red-haired guy screams that there's a nightmare mob right on their tail. The giant elite bug keeps W-keying at insane speed, destroying everything in its path. Instead of getting scared, Wei Dao drops a hyped smile, realizing it's just another siege bug. The MC pushes forward, summoning his skeleton mages and celebrating that his new source of underworld cash just pulled up. Seeing the guy run toward the danger, the fleeing students are totally confused, wondering if he's literally throwing his run. Without blinking, Wei Dao points at the target and yells at his bone squad to drop the monster fast. Instantly, a barrage of explosive magic hits the creature, setting off a massive purple explosion in the desert. Completely shook by the easy clear, the surviving guys admit that summoner classes are genuinely busted. The guy with glasses mentions he's also a summoner, but his red-haired bro says the real carry is that mysterious guy over there. Right after the fight, Wei Dao uses his shovel to quickly bury the mob on the glowing system marker. Holding the fresh cash, the MC complains that the coin drop rate is still too low for his shopping goals. Suddenly, a heavy earthquake starts shaking the sand, putting the guy on high alert. Looking back suspiciously, Wei Dao wonders what's causing all that crazy noise in the distance. In the clearing, other students start screaming in absolute terror, trying to escape the incoming wipe. To everyone's horror, a massive horde of hundreds of siege bugs comes marching across the desert. Seeing that nightmare, the MC realizes a literal swarm of giant bugs is pulling up. Totally panicking, the 2 young guys scream, thinking it's officially game over for them. Wasting no time, Wei Dao throws his hand out, popping a giant purple magic circle right on the sand. Hopping onto his elite beast, the guy orders Peppa to sprint at max speed to outrun the swarm. Shook by the epic mount, the red-haired guy yells, realizing it's a general tier summon. Seeing the mount's crazy speed, the survivors decide to follow the MC's path to try and stay alive. Sprinting with everything they've got, the two guys scream, begging the guy to wait up for them. But the massive bug horde stays right on their tail, roaring furiously. One of the mobs almost catches the stragglers, taking dangerous swipes right by their heads. Looking back, Wei Dao notices the massive swarm is hard focusing him specifically. Annoyed by the sweaty chase, the guy complains, not getting why the mobs have total aggro on him. Analyzing the path, he figures the beasts are tracking him and guesses there's a high IQ leader controlling the pack. Flying past another squad, Wei Dao notices they recognize him from the university. Looking at the fast mount, the green-haired guy complains that his own winged wolf looks like total trash compared to that beast. With no time to chat, Wei Dao zooms past and screams a warning for the squad to start running from the incoming swarm. Confused by the random callout, the squad wonders if there's actually a huge threat pulling up. But the doubt vanishes the second they see the massive dust cloud and the monsters W-keying toward them. Full panicking, Lu Yu immediately jumps on his winged wolf, calling for a retreat to save his own skin. Desperate, his teammates beg Lu Yu to let them ride too, saying they'll get wiped if they stay. But Lu Yu rejects the request, violently pushing his teammate's hand away to break free. Showing zero chill, the guy hits the gas, speeding off on his wolf and abandoning his squad. Looking back coldly, Lu Yu yells that carrying 3 people would be a fatal throw and tells them to just stay put. Left for dead, the students are completely shook by the cowardice and the random betrayal from their own guildmate. Filled with rage and panic, the young archer draws his weapon, swearing that if he's going to the lobby, Lu Yu is coming with him. With that, the guy fires a flaming arrow with all his might straight at the traitor trying to escape. The projectile cuts through the air at crazy speed, leaving a trail of fire right toward the runner. Surprised by the backstab, Lu Yu screams in pain as he takes the hit from his own teammate. The impact throws him off balance, and he faceplants into the sand, falling right off his mount. Sprawled on the ground with an arrow in his back, Lu Yu curses his teammates' toxic revenge. But his timer runs out as the hungry bug horde catches the defenseless kids, filling the zone with screams of terror. With zero counterplay on the sand, Lu Yu gets completely swarmed by the sharp claws of the horde. In seconds, the massive wave of hungry bugs covers the entire clearing, completely muting the desperate calls for help. Meanwhile, at the official ruin entrance surrounded by warning tape, a military base is monitoring the server. Inside the command tent, a bunch of high-ranking devs are discussing the recent glitch. Taking the floor, the bearded officer announces they finally figured out what actually caused the ruin fog anomaly. Listening closely, the white-haired elder signals the officer to keep reading the logs. Looking dead serious, the military guy drops the bomb that the glitch wasn't random RNG, but an actual coordinated hack. Shook by the leak, the director questions how it's even possible someone is pulling strings from the shadows. The officer continues, asking if everyone remembers the tragic server wipe from last month. He reminds them that alien mobs invaded the Qingyang dungeons and 18 other major hubs. The officer adds that the invaders ganked a ton of students, resulting in hundreds of tragic losses. Seriously, he guarantees they have logs proving both attacks were pulled by the exact same toxic guild. Furious about the constant griefing, the director demands to know the usernames of the culprits immediately. Staring at the leaders, the officer reveals the attack was launched by the dangerous 10,000 Races cult. Hit by the heavy news, one of the admins slams his fist hard on the wooden desk. Angry at the invaders' audacity, the officer curses those basement dwellers for daring to log back in. He orders the immediate wipe of every cult hideout and demands a public ban wave for all their members. Locked in, all the generals in the room stand up and confirm the order with total confidence. Meanwhile, the elite boar is sprinting at top speed, kicking up a massive dust cloud in the desert. It tears across the wasteland super fast, following the MC's orders to find a safe extraction point. Reaching the edge of the sand, Peppa finally stops in front of a thick, mysterious green forest. Noticing the crazy map transition, Wei Dao is intrigued by how different this new zone looks. The guy walks chill, wondering if he just stumbled into a literal oasis in the middle of the desert. Pushing through thick vines, he spots a tiny green mob chilling on a branch nearby. Curious about the soft noise in the leaves, the MC pauses his run to check it out. Spooked, the guy jumps back and drops a yell when he sees the bizarre look of the tiny mob that just spawned. Wasting no time, Wei Dao pops his advanced perception to stat check the mystery monster. The UI shows the new enemy is just a common poison larva, sitting at a pathetic level 2. Suddenly, the tiny green creature starts floating, glowing with a dangerous magical. Completely panicking, the bug lets out a high-pitched screech while the guy yells, caught off guard by the aggro. Annoyed, the young guy lands a clean shovel swing, squashing the tiny larva against a tree in a split second. A floating screen gives him props for clearing the trash mob, dropping a pathetic single XP point. The guy complains about the trash loot, asking if the system thinks he's literally begging for scraps. Looking at the mob's body, he wonders if he'll pull any decent drops by burying it in the dirt. 10 minutes later, a tiny tree with golden fruit sprouts fast from the dirt mound under the afternoon sun. Glowing bright, a golden bill drops from the fruit, confirming he just farmed one underworld coin from the burial. Getting super greedy, Wei Dao celebrates, realizing that burying every bug in this forest is going to make him insanely rich. Snapping his fingers, the MC calls in his undead army with a massive glowing purple. Pointing at the branches full of green larvae, the guy orders his summons to start farming the zone immediately. Meanwhile, in a nearby clearing, a pink-haired girl is on the ground, desperately crying for help. Standing over her, a shady rogue with a messy blade demands to know where Nanjai and Pei Kayan are. Crying in pure terror, the girl begs for her run, swearing she has zero clue where the other two freshmen are. Showing absolutely zero chill, the Dark Warrior drops a fatal strike, sending the poor girl straight to the lobby. Wiping his blade, the enemy complains that the noobs from this university are way too squishy and get one-tapped easily. He keeps walking through the forest, reminding himself that those two geniuses are the primary targets for his bounty. He plans to wipe the duo to lock in his promotion as the new holy son of his toxic guild. Suddenly, the warrior stops walking when he spots a tiny plant growing over a fresh grave. Curious about the weird spawn in the middle of the woods, he steps closer to investigate. Getting greedy, the rogue guesses some player probably stashed premium loot under that dirt pile. Without hesitating, he uses his claws to dig up the fresh grave as fast as he can. But he just uncovers the squishy, gross body of a squashed poison larva decaying in the dirt. Tilted, he screams in rage, wondering what kind of absolute troll would bother burying trash mobs here. Wiping the green sludge off his hands with some leaves, the enemy complains heavily about the nasty garbage. Suddenly, a skeletal blur wrapped in purple smoke zooms past, running at insane speed right behind him. Alerted by the rustling, the warrior spins around, trying to figure out what just blew past him. Looking ahead, he is completely mind-blown to see hundreds of tiny graves scattered across the clearing. Not understanding the glitchy zone, the long-haired guy wonders why there's a massive graveyard here. Just then, 3 skeleton mages pop out from behind the dirt mounds, holding their glowing combat staffs. The undead minions start charging op fireballs, ready to nuke the intruder. Pulling his shiny sword, the opponent complains that the mobs are pulling a cheap sneak attack without warning. While the mages defend the zone, golden underworld bills float straight into the storage bag. Super happy, Wei Dao dances with his summons, hyped that his coin stash is already pushing 50,000. Suddenly, an alert sound pings, warning the young guy that 10 of his skeleton mages just got wiped out. Panicking over the sudden squad wipe, the MC freaks out, having zero clue what caused the deaths. Hopping onto Peppa next to little Kiang, the guy orders everyone to sprint and investigate the drop zone. Arriving at the fight, the young guy only finds purple dust and shattered bones scattered on the grass. Looking around suspiciously, Wei Dao thinks the dead silence is super sketchy and wonders why nothing is moving. But the danger comes right back when a massive red energy beam slices through the trees straight at his surviving summons. With a devastating hit, the flaming blade cuts one of his skeleton mages clean in half, instantly deleting it. Furious about the griefing, the MC yells for the cowardly camper to step out and show himself. Stepping out of the shadows with his glowing sword, the rogue looks at the kid and realizes he looks familiar. With a dark smirk, the enemy recognizes the exam's MVP, Wei Dao, and celebrates finding such an easy target. Walking up acting fake nice, the warrior introduces himself as Bai Yi, trying to sound friendly. With total cap, the rogue apologizes for accidentally sniping Wei Dao's summons in the woods. Not buying Bai Yi's sus act, the young guy keeps his guard up, knowing this dude is planning something toxic. Wei Dao sarcastically pretends to accept the apology, saying it's all good since it wasn't on purpose. Taking advantage of the chill vibe, Bai Yi suggests they duo up to find the extraction point together. The MC casually drops that his new teammate better keep up, because he's not playing bodyguard. Sneaky as hell, the opponent pulls a sharp dagger behind the kid's back, whispering for the MC to go to hell. But Wei Dao senses the heavy aggro coming from behind and spins around, dropping a warning sound. Suspicious of the backstab attempt, the young guy asks the rival what his actual endgame is. Without answering, Bai Yi leaps, dropping his vacuum strike ultimate to instantly delete the summoner. Landing the slash right on the kid's chest, the rogue celebrates, thinking this kill secures his Holy Son title. But Wei Dao just steps back as the damage transfers, asking if the rival is from that toxic 10,000 races cult. With an arrogant, creepy smile, the warrior proudly confirms his guild and asks if the kid is terrified. Completely unbothered, the MC gets furious, realizing the whole freshman trap was set up by this guy's guild. The opponent confirms the fog glitch was actually a mystic hack planned by their guild master. But Bai Yi suddenly backs up, absolutely shook to see the kid took 0 damage, wondering how he's still standing. With Peppa and little Kiang spawning right behind him, Wei Dao trolls the guy, asking if he actually thought he could secure the kill. Trying to guard with his glowing blades, the rogue admits the kid is cracked, but warns the real boss fight starts now. With a victory yell, Bai drops a massive sword strike, trying to end the... Instantly, a giant shield pops up, blocking the attack with a thick purple energy barrier. But the impact of Bai's blade barely even scratches the Guardian's insane defense. Shook by the whiff, the rogue backs up, not getting how his ultimate got stuffed so easily. Then Peppa comes rushing in hot, W-keying at max speed with its sharp teeth ready. The beast goes full aggro, dashing directly at the rogue's position. But Bai stands his ground, charging his own energy to try and counter the... The two clash super hard in the middle of the field, kicking up a massive dust cloud. Punishing the gap, Peppa lands a brutal hit that launches the enemy straight into the... Bai's body hits the forest floor with a heavy thud, letting out a painful grunt. Then Wei Dao casually raises his hand, ordering his mage Aints to finish the guy off. Instantly, the skeleton mage charges a massive spiritual fireball right in the sky. Panicking, Bai tries to pop a sword shield, screaming that he refuses to take the... With the impact of the huge nuke, flames completely swallow the clearing, leaving zero counterplay. The system drops a GG, congratulating the young guy for wiping the swordsman and handing over a ton of XP. Checking out the crater, Wei Dao praises Ain's upgrades, noticing the minion's DPS went way up. A new notification pops up, confirming the guy just hit level 20 and secured more stat points. The class promotion screen drops, giving him the option to rank up right on the spot. Accepting it, the guy celebrates his second class promotion, jumping straight to level 20. The UI shows his base stats literally doubled after the rank up. He happily notices that all his elite summons also got auto-promoted. Curious, the MC opens his panel to read the patch notes on his talent buffs. The system says he unlocked the ability to trigger corpse explosions on anyone he buries. Testing the new tech, the young guy snaps his fingers, pushing magic energy into the woods. Instantly, one of the buried bodies detonates, dropping a massive explosion right in the clearing. He then checks his iron shovel, realizing it unlocked a special new farming mode. Walking up to Bai's body, he says thanks for the XP and wonders what kind of loot is going to spawn. About 15 minutes go by as the young guy finishes setting up the fresh dirt. A tiny plant with glowing golden fruit sprouts super fast from the enemy's grave. Suddenly, the golden fruit pops open, blasting a strong magic light right in the guy's face. The system congratulates him, revealing he just pulled a rank S skill book. Without blinking, Wei Dao grabs the magic relic and tells the system to learn the tech. A glowing pop-up confirms he successfully unlocked the new legendary summon. The MC pops a giant blue magic circle to call in his fresh bone minion. A sharp blue beam of light slices the air, marking the arrival of the new mob. An epic skeleton warrior spawns in, wielding a glowing sword wrapped in energy. Admiring the clean drip of his new minion, the guy decides to name him Little Giant. But the chill vibe dies when a sketchy shadow pops up, stalking the squad from the trees. Sensing random danger pulling up, the MC spins around asking who's camping there. A blast of purple energy shoots through the air, forcing the guy to speed dodge the sneak attack. To the young guy's surprise, a monstrous spider with red eyes crawls out of the dark woods. Raging, the beast shoots a stream of toxic purple venom straight at the squad. Shook by the insane aggro, Wei Dao realizes this enemy is completely unhinged. Wasting no time, the guy points forward and orders his army to start the counterpush. Instantly, the skeleton mages step up, ready to dump their fire spells on the beast. A literal bullet hell of colorful spells gets spammed at the monster to try and stuff its push. But the creature claps back with a green energy blast, forcing the guy to pop a quick shield. Little Giant steps up to the front line, raising his sword to body block for his master. The skeleton swordsman pops a blue energy shield, completely eating the heavy hit. A massive clash of energy shakes the whole clearing, kicking up a ton of dust on the battlefield. The brave warrior holds the line perfectly, taking absolutely zero physical damage. When the smoke clears, the barrier drops, proving the minion's defense was flawless. Wei Dao then orders Peppa to launch a brutal rush straight at the monster. The beast W-keys at max speed, wrapped in purple flames, clearing a path through the bushes. But the giant enemy reacts, shooting acid beams to try and zone the boar out. Furious, the giant spider jumps, flexing its sharp claws and venom-dripping fangs. Locked in, the MC pops his inspect magic to stat-check the opponent. The system screen reveals it's a level 35 poison spider, a literal boss-type mob. Giving no breathing room, the beast spams an acid barrage that covers the whole combat zone. The young guy yells for Peppa to dodge the hazard and avoid touching that acid. Moving fast, the skeletal beast sidesteps, totally dodging the spider's acid attack. The guy points forward, ordering Mage Aints to dump his entire ultimate on her. Instantly, the red-robed minion charges two massive spiritual fireballs. With a fast flick, the skeleton mage launches the combo attack right at the boss. A colossal nuke completely swallows the poisoned spider, sending a massive pillar of fire into the sky. Far away, a group of students is completely panicking after getting swarmed by dozens of mobs. Trying to hold the line, the blonde mage spams his fire spells at the horde. But the giant bugs just tank the hits and keep W-keying relentlessly. Desperate, the squad screams for their leader to drop a stronger fire ultimate. Tilted, he yells back that he's totally out of mana after fighting endless mobs in the woods. The students realize they're hard stuck and start stressing that it's game over for them here. Suddenly, the sound of a massive explosion from far away grabs the squad's attention. Shook, they point out that the blast is way bigger than any of their fire spells. The group decides to run straight toward the noise, hoping to find a high-level carry. While running, they catch a glimpse of the undead army completely dominating the battlefield in the distance. Laughing at the bugs, Wei Dao roasts their weak stats, claiming they could never wipe him with such basic attacks. Right then, a massive green energy explosion goes off in the middle of the zone. Shocked that the boss actually tanked the hit, the MC pops his Inspect Magic to check the stat change. The screen shows the creature just evolved into the OP level 40 Poison Spider Empress. Wei Dao is totally mind-blown by the random mid-fight evolution, and wonders how he's going to clear such a sweaty boss. The young guy takes a quick step back, prepping to tactically retreat from the zone. Jumping onto Pepper in a panic, the MC orders the mount to sprint away from the danger as fast as possible. Meanwhile, the student squad is running through the woods, thinking the op carry is just up ahead. But they soon spot the undead army throwing down against the mobs right in the middle of the forest. The guys freeze in panic when they see the path is completely body-blocked by skeleton mobs. The squad leader screams in terror when he spots the dozens of undead standing in their way. But he quickly spots the MC and realizes the guy is actually just a cracked summoner. Suddenly, another purple fire explosion nukes the trees right next to the student's position. Running their way, Wei Dao yells for everyone to clear the lane instantly so they don't block his escape. Speeding past them, the MC drops an urgent warning that dangerous giant bugs are right on his tail. Annoyed by the screaming, a squadmate yanks the leader back, telling him to stop being so dramatic. He points out that having a high-level summoner here is perfect for stalling the terrible bug horde. Right on cue, a chain of massive explosions starts carpet-bombing the forest right behind the student squad. Wei Dao's undead army keeps brawling heavily against the monster horde in the desert. Watching the summons absolutely pop off, the squad leader admits he's looking at a literal gaming god. The last elite bug tries to hold on while the purple flames melt its HP on the sand. Wanting to speedrun the end of the fight, Wei Dao orders Peppa to just crush the mob once and for all. Following the direct command, the skeleton boar launches a crazy fast, brutal dash at the downed enemy. With a heavy impact, Peppa smashes the opponent, kicking up a massive cloud of dust and purple fire. Mind blown by the raw damage, the guys agree that the elite summoner's power is literally hacking. Looking at the mob drops, the MC sighs, super salty that he doesn't have time to bury all these bodies here. Seeing the guy walk up, the students run over hyped, shouting praises at their hero. The squad leader begs the MC to let them party up, hyping up his insane combat skills. Feeling awkward about the request, Wei Dao scratches his head and honestly replies that he hates having a bunch of randoms following him. Suddenly, a terrifying high-pitched screech echoes through the trees as toxic green energy starts leaking everywhere. Looking back sweating, Wei Dao realizes the mobs are pushing them at an insane speed. Right after, the giant spider empress bursts through the branches, dumping her toxic green fog. Terrified by the boss's massive hitbox, the students totally freeze, having zero clue how to react. Seeing them lag out, the MC yells angrily, telling everyone to stop standing there and start running. The squad scatters in pure panic while the nightmare boss pushes forward, flattening trees straight toward them. To buy them time to escape, Wei Dao starts charging up his dark energy in the palm of his hand. He summons his undead army and orders them to aggro the Empress to stall her push. The skeleton soldiers lock down the front line, completely blocking the giant boss's path. But the creature unleashes a devastating poison breath that completely melts the bone shields in a second. Panicking as his tanks get wiped, the squad leader runs screaming, begging the MC to carry him. Wasting no time, Wei Dao channels his summoning magic, pulling his heavy mystic energy together. He spawns in a bunch of boar mounts and tells the students to hop on quick so they can speed boost out of there. Relieved by the clutch assist, the guy thanks him endlessly, literally crying tears of joy for the mid-fight rescue. The MC revs his own mount, saying he's pushing ahead and telling the rest to survive however they can. 3 hours later, it's finally dead silent in the thick forest under the chill evening light. Sitting against a giant tree, Wei Dao sighs in relief, realizing he finally managed to drop the boss's aggro. With his gear all scuffed, the young guy complains about being starving and exhausted after running all night to not get wiped. He opens his inventory bag and pulls out a small pack of snacks. Tearing into the green cookie wrapper, the guy asks out loud when this sweaty run is finally going to end. In a rush, the MC takes a bite of the crunchy cookie, trying to regen his lost stamina. Suddenly, a fresh peach drops on the ground right in front of him, making him stare at it confused. Curious about the random drop, the guy looks up to see where the food spawned from in the tree. The system spots a small level 35 golden silk demon macaque. Mind blown by his terrible RNG, Wei Dao complains about running into yet another Tier 3 elite mob in these ruins. The little animal does a quick flip on the branch and chucks another peach straight at the MC's head. Taking a clean headshot from the heavy fruit, the young guy yells in pain, roasting the little mob's disrespect. The monkey then starts making high-pitched squeaks and aggressively pointing at the guy in the clearing. The animal keeps throwing crazy hand signs, making it super obvious it's starving. Looking at the fruit in his hands, Wei Dao figures out the mob just wants to trade a peach for a cookie. So the young guy tosses one of his cookies up to the branch to chill the little creature out. Snatching the pack midair like a pro, the monkey drops a massive smile, super hyped to get the snack. Acting crazy excited, the little animal jumps around, celebrating the successful food trade in the tree. It rips the plastic open fast and starts munching on the crunchy cookie like it's the best thing ever. The monkey closes its eyes, enjoying the snack with red cheeks from pure satisfaction in the woods. Parkouring happily from branch to branch, the little mob celebrates the top-tier loot it just scored. Eating his own juicy peach, Wei Dao smiles, realizing the beast literally just wanted to do a fair trade. The young guy keeps eating the sweet fruit, finally enjoying a quick AFK moment in the forest. After finishing the quick meal, only the peels and the empty wrapper are left on the green grass. Standing up, the MC announces breakfast is over, and it's time to get back to the ruin grind. Out of nowhere, the little monkey drops upside down right in his face, giving the guy a massive jump scare. Hanging by its tail, the mob holds out a closed fist, offering some shiny loot to the MC. Looking at it super suspiciously, the guy asks what it is, realizing it's some kind of magic seed. Without hesitating, Wei Dao pops his inspect spell to pull the stats on the glowing drop. The UI shows it's a rank S immortal peach tree seed, used to grow literal god-tier legendary trees. Absolutely shook by the crazy reveal, the young guy screams, confirming he just got gifted an ultra-rare item. Holding the glowing rank S seed super carefully, Wei Dao wonders where this demon monkey even spawned from to find such op loot in the ruins. He checks the seed out closely, and is mind blown that he actually got lucky enough to pull such a high-value item for free. The little golden silk monkey celebrates, jumping around and squishing itself from pure joy right in front of its new bro. Wei Dao crouches down and tells the animal he's totally out of cookies, promising to pay off the rest of his tab later. But the monkey gets super toxic about the excuse and lets out an angry howl, forcing the MC to tell it to chill and swear he's not trying to scam. Instantly, the beast dashes at Wei Dao at insane speed, giving him 0 frames to pop a shield. Unable to dodge, the guy takes a fast, heavy hit right in the chest from the creature. The knockback sends the MC flying, landing flat on his back in the dense forest while he complains about the mob's busted stats. He triggers his power and calls in Little Giant for backup, making the skeleton warrior spawn with an intimidating howl. The skeleton swordsman drops a fast swing, but the agile monkey just jumps into the air, completely dodging the hit with 0 damage. Recovering from the wipeout, Wei Dao gets up and brushes the dirt off, admitting the little mob actually has crazy physical strength. Standing next to his minion, he offers to write the monkey an IOU note to guarantee it gets the promised cookies. But the animal turns around and crosses its arms looking super sus, making the guy ask if it's scared of getting scammed. Thinking about it, the MC realizes the mobs in these ancient ruins are actually way too smart to get trolled in trades. Suddenly, Wei Dao gets a big brain idea and decides to switch up his strat to finally convince the beast. The guy tries to hype the monkey up by asking if it's ever tried the famous premium food from the human server. Yapping with excitement, he lists off dishes like stuffed pork, steamed duck, and shrimp stew, getting the monkey completely hooked. Wei Dao holds his hand out and offers a pact, promising to carry the new companion out of this dead zone if it agrees to the terms. He invites the little animal to tag along and eat luxury feasts, while his other summons watch from the back looking super eager. Daydreaming about the plates of op food, the monkey's mouth waters, and it literally can't resist the bait. Locking it in, the little beast shakes the guy's hand, super happily accepting the party invite right there in the clearing. Wei Dao crouches down, saying he's going to trigger the master-servant contract sequence right away. The MC drops a single drop of his own HP onto the little animal's hand to seal the mystic pact. With the ritual active, a massive red magic circle glows super bright on the dense forest floor. The system says GG, confirming he successfully signed the contract with the golden silk macaque while a light fills the zone. Checking the UI, the young guy finds out his new level 35 summon has 3 insanely op rank skills. but he tells the system to mute the notifications when he reads the upkeep cost, demands feeding it expensive premium meat dishes. To Wei Dao's absolute shock, the monkey starts actually talking, demanding the promised meat, showing it just unlocked voice chat. The guy tells it to stop spamming demands and swears he'll hook it up with top-tier food as soon as they extract. Asking if the mob has a username, the MC decides to name it Great Sage, so it has an epic, boss-level title. The monkey totally approves, hyping up the new name because Great Sage matches its op vibe perfectly. Hopping onto his elite mount, Wei Dao tells the squad to follow him so they can start tracking down his old teammates in the woods. With the Great Sage chilling on his shoulder, the MC warns that there are a lot of mobs around and promises to lead the squad straight to them. Hours later, a trail of destruction shows a bunch of giant scorpions totally wiped out on the rocky valley floor. A system pop-up congratulates the guy for successfully hitting level 29 after clearing all the mobs in the zone. Suddenly, the little monkey pings that it senses a massive lobby of human players grouped up just ahead. The MC tells his mount to hit max speed toward the ping so they can go check it out. In the distance, a huge crowd of students from different academies is camping in a rocky canyon in the ruins. Looking at the lobby from high up, the young guy is impressed by how many players actually managed to survive this long. Pepper rolls up to the camp, and the students start whispering about how absolutely epic the guy leading the squad looks. The players point at the monkey on his shoulder, shocked by the insane drip of this elite summoner. Jumping off his mount, Wei Dao runs up to the group, immediately asking what the heck is going on in this valley. The blue-haired student explains that someone actually managed to data mine the exact coords of the ruins' matrix core. Hearing that, the MC asks if destroying the core will open the extraction portal for everyone to leave. But the red-haired guy shakes his head looking stressed, saying the raid is not going to be that easy. He drops the lore that the mob guarding the core is a terrifying, insanely high-level insect queen. He keeps explaining that tens of thousands of players from different servers teamed up yesterday to try and clear the boss. But the raid group took massive losses in the brutal fight and ended up totally throwing them. Worried about the low player count at the camp, Wei Dao wonders if most of the lobby actually got wiped during the raid. The blue-haired guy quickly denies it, explaining the other guilds just split up to scout different escape routes. The blonde kid advises the group to just play support for the other servers and avoid throwing during tomorrow's raid. Laughing out loud, the MC chills and accepts the tip, asking if anyone in the lobby has any food in their inventory. Pulling a small pack of spicy strips out of his pocket, the blonde guy says he still has a few of them left. Offering a juicy peach for the snack, Wei Dao suggests a fair trade to feed his starving pet. The MC hands the spicy strips to the Great Sage, swearing it's an absolute top-tier human snack. Super curious, the little monkey takes a bite of the mystery food while the whole lobby watches. Covered in smoke from the spice, the mob jumps for joy, celebrating how insanely good the human food tastes. Finding the reaction hilarious, the other students joke that the guy's pet has massive charisma. A few hours later, a full moon pops up, lighting the dark sky and kicking off a freezing night in the valley. Chilling on the grass, Wei Dao looks at the stars, hoping all his university bros are still safe. Lying there, the MC notices a crazy skybox glitch and is shocked to see a literal blood moon spawn in. With red light covering the woods, a heavy wind starts blowing the leaves, dropping a super sweaty vibe over the camp. Suddenly, a low HP player comes sprinting out of the woods, screaming an urgent warning that the bug army is pushing them. Giving zero reaction time, a giant centipede jumps from the shadows, dropping a fatal hit on the poor guy running away. Spooked by the screams, the students realize the enemy horde is already breaching the camp. As the first heavy hits land, massive dirt explosions start carpet-bombing the entire rest area. A terrifying number of giant centipedes starts pouring down the cliffs, completely trapping all the players in the valley. In total panic over getting boxed in, the red-haired guy screams for all his bros to start running immediately. Up on the rocks, one of the giant mobs drops a scary howl, calling even more swarm units into the zone. Seeing a teammate take a heavy hit from the beast, the kids scream their bro's name in pure despair during the chaos. Riding his mount, Wei Dao zooms past the frozen students and yells for everyone to stop trolling and just run. But the massive bug swarm keeps W-keying down the mountain at insane speed, wiping everything in the dirt path. A colossal beast with sharp pincers roars with pure rage, getting ready to flatten any survivors trying to kite away. Hidden in the shadows of the red night, a giant beast's glowing eye locks directly onto the players running across the grass. With scary claws popping up right above his head, the blue-haired guy freezes in panic, staring right at a game-over screen. Popping his scan magic, Wei Dao seriously checks the massive monster charging at them across the desert. The UI drops the stats. It's a level 40 tank bug boss, min-maxed completely for physical strength and constitution. Dropping a deafening roar, the beast starts its rush while the MC pushes forward on his op skeleton boar. Wei Dao commands his cracked warrior little giant to go in and permanently delete the bug. Instantly, a sharp blue energy beam is fired at the elite mob trying to pop a guard. Moving super fast, the skeleton swordsman triggers his electric slash, diving straight at the opponent's armor. A massive clash happens as the blade hits the bug's shell, violently cracking its armor open. Punishing the opening, Wei Dao gets hyped next to his monkey and charges his fire spell to attack. A barrage of destructive purple explosions hits the weakened tank bug dead on. A colossal nuke completely swallows the combat zone, shredding the massive boss into pieces on the sand. Wasting zero time, the guy runs up with his shovel to secure the loot and bury the downed opponent. Standing under a rain of debris, he waits by the fresh grave, hyped for the premium underworld drops. A golden beam flashes super bright, showing the dig actually drops some god-tier loot. Grouping up his elite squad, Wei Dao orders his summons to scan the desert for more tank bugs. In the distance, other students are getting griefed by high-level mobs and scream desperately for a carry. A girl on the grass begs for her life, while a fearless warrior drops from the sky dual-wielding hammers. Roaring, the fighter lands a clean hit, flattening the giant bug against the floor with a massive shockwave.